Is it picking up? Yeah, okay, cool. It's picking up my voice. I'm up from a nap. That means it's time to record more. I woke up from a nap like 15 minutes ago. 9K contest. Hooray! Hooray! Yippee! Hooray! I really liked yesterday's article. For you guys, it's this morning, but for me, it was yesterday. I really liked yesterday's article. Let's hope we can get something good again, yeah? Granted, like, everything I've been reading has been good, but, like, let's hope I get something good again, yeah? Like, good. You know what I'm saying? I hope so, because I don't know myself. I just woke up, you see. After having a bowl of pasta. It was really good. I think closing's done. Or it should. PM. Posting will close by tonight, which is gonna help because, oh my god. I'd like an extension on when they vote for the real one, because there's so many. But I'm gonna do Shattered Land National Park, which I know ahead of time doesn't have any warnings because I opened at the end of last time. Ooh. If we can manage it, let's check out breaking news today as well. Which also has, okay, wonderful. Which also has no warnings, that's cool. Vic Hunter need technical media, that's another group of interest. How fun. A lot of GUIs for these entries, I like them. Anyway. I got a packet of seaweed right here for if I get hungry, so let's get started. Oh, information. Written by, okay, never mind. Man, nobody's really spoken to the reader yet. Big ups to matches God's heart. Working on bike makes you racist, makes them too. Here we are. Big up to Little Worlds then. Hey, 25. He has to get a tattoo, or they have to get the tattoo. Oh, more than 25. Damn it. One more, and the prophecy is complete, where they must get an ant tattooed upon thine body. But nobody's done this yet, which is kind of sad to me. Like, this is fun. I like it when that happens, even if it breaks universe or something. I don't give a shit, right? It's fine. Pataphysics or something. I don't know. Uh, SCP-9000, Level 2 restricted. Containment class Euclid. Disruption class Eki. Risk class Danger, which are both level 4. Shattered Land National Park from Salt Lick Trail Overlook. Remains of arch are still visible in the distance. Remains of the arch are still visible in the distance. To be fair, I just woke up. What do you? Which ones are the remains of the arch? Is my question. And how far in the distance? Like the middle distance, or like what? Like, do you mean this? Like, did this used to be an arch or something? Hmm. Either way, there's a very beautiful photo of I guess the Shattered Land National Park on the Salt Lake Trail. Container procedures. Cameras, audio equipment, and other surveillance technology has been placed throughout the 9000 and southern Utah, throughout SCP-9000 and southern Utah to monitor behavior and log visitor faces. Unusual changes in personal appearance or sudden erratic actions will be tracked by AI and submitted to Utah Field Office. SCP-9000 is closed to the public, and MTF New 42, Inherit the Wind, is on permanent standby to issue local or global amnestic therapy in response to any further destruction of natural resources related to containment. Preservation of endemic species and historic sites is considered an Alpha Delta Psi level priority. Okay, you already hooked me. Visitors to SCP-9000 are advised to spend as little time as possible looking at the sky. Alright. I dropped something. Let me just pick that up very quickly. Here we are. Alright. Description. SCP-9000 is the former Shattered-Land National Park and Preserve, covering approximately 245,000 acres of wilderness in southwestern Utah, United States. At its peak, the park was considered one of the Mighty Six of the national park system in Utah. It saw approximately 1.1 million visitors per year and housed 3 visitor centers, a park lodge, and 112 miles of hiking and backcountry trails. I don't know if that place existed, or I'm not big in places where I don't live. I don't live in Utah. Pictured are the Hoodoo rock formations in the park's lower desert. Shattered Land was unique among Utah parks in letting visitors climb on its hoodoos. Doesn't that map in TF2 fucking suck, Hoodoo? Anyway, humans under the vicinity of SCP-9000 are subject to a variety of anomalous hazards, primarily affecting their memories and perception of based on reality. Spontaneous temporary alterations of facial features, amnesia, hallucinations, including audio, visual, and tactile phenomena of encounters with both people and realistic fauna not otherwise known on the planet, and the persistent belief that the Earth has a second moon. For most subjects, these effects vanish within minutes upon leaving the vicinity. In some cases, however, they may persist. Affected persons should report to SCP-9000 Site Command Lead Jasper Daniels if perception remains impacted for more than 12 hours. Rarely, subjects visiting SCP-9000 have vanished and reappeared many miles away in other areas of the park. Several subjects have vanished without reappearance, which are considered MACs, or missing under anomalous circumstances, until their whereabouts can be ascertained. These subjects who do not reappear often exhibit marked personality alterations. The mechanism. Oh, sorry, mom came in to ask me if I wanted fries. Um, Subjects who do reappear often exhibit marked personality alterations. The mechanism governing this is under investigation, as subjects are universally unable to account for their circumstances during the time where they were out of contact. Prior to its closure and SCP designation, Shutterland National Park was known to the Foundation as a testing ground for cooperative technological development between the United Nations Global Coalition, or GOC, the Federation, or the Federal Bureau of Investigations Unusual Incidents Unit, or the FBI's UIU. The nature of this cooperation, as well as the reason these groups chose prominent tourist location for their work, was never disclosed to the Foundation. Both groups deny any knowledge of anomalous events. Research is ongoing to determine the veracity of these claims, as well as the justification for UIU GOC work, and their destruction of the park's central natural attraction, the Salt Lick Arch, on April 20th, 27. When UIU says that they didn't know something anomalous was happening, I believe them. When the GOC say it, however, I don't super believe them. And I love the UIU, but let's be real, they're not exactly the most uh, effective of, you know, uh, GOIs related to anomalous phenomena. Well, okay, who's worse, the UIU or Parawatch at knowing anomalous shit's happening? I think the Parawatch is worse, right? But, I don't know, sometimes it feels like a fucking toss-up, I'll tell you that much. Uh, all affectionate, I promise you. Uh, PTTP, with a little picture of some sort of freak creature there, a little bird. Commenting as Pablo Torres, researcher level 3. He has improper. I'm so mad at him. I'm going back to Shattered Land tonight, and I doubt I'm coming back out again. Might as well leave some notes here for anyone who wants to read back. My name is Pablo Theodore Torres Padilla. I joined National Park Service when I was 19. I joined the Foundation 3 years later. They paid a lot better to be age. I'm a programmer, a data scientist, and an ornithologist. I was stationed at Shattered Land National Park for both my jobs, reported the anomalies here first. July 2027, about 2 years after all this madness started, I looked up in the sky and saw a second moon there. She is Luma. She's always been there. I remember seeing her when I was a child in San Juan. When other people leave Shattered Land, they forget Luma exists. For whatever reason, I do not. You'd think it would be worse at night, seeing both of them up there, trying to point it out to someone, getting a crazy look even when I can see 2 moons reflecting back at me in the person's eyes. But it's actually worse during the day. I'm walking in my car, coming out of a store, whatever, and noticing up there with crowds of people walking around not seeing anything amiss, we're living in 2 different worlds. I should have reported it to Jasper by now. It's been months since my first exposure, and I never stopped seeing Luma. It's just, she's always been there. We've just forgotten. I can't bring myself to accept anything else but that. The moons, the false parentheses birds, the disappeared people. They're real, and I will not forget so easily. I have not been allowed to enter the park again since it was contained, but I know my way around. I need to go back. I go tonight. Addendum, Park History. There's an image here of Eugene's spiny lizard. Fat fuck. Uh, Contributed by Dr. Pablo Torres, National Park Service / SCP Foundation Liaison. Founded in 1956, Sutherland National Park was a rugged, iconic fixture in the U.S. parks system prior to its demise. A favorite for families due to its gradual trails and abundant climbable hoodoo formations, the park had seen increasing tourism for years prior to its closure. It protected a diverse range of habitats, encompassing both arid deserts and high-altitude forest plains, boasted towering sandstone formations which attract hikers and sightseers from around the world, including one of the best-known freestanding stone arches on Earth at 212 feet high and nearly 400 feet across. Salt Lick Arch was often featured on American Currency, had notable appearance in movies and television programs of the 20th century. MTF New 45 has redirected these cultural touchpoints to formations in nearby parks, notably constructing the so-called Delicate Arch in Arches National Park for this purpose. Much of Shattered Lands' territory was protected national wilderness, closed to all visitors without special permit. This area was home to a wide array of wildlife and plants, some of which were endemic to southwestern Utah. Notable species included Eugene's spiny lizard, one of only 3 known parthenogenic reptiles, several leks for the critically endangered shattered sage grouse, and subalpine pine frost lilies, or parentheses, uh, Erythronium shatterum, close parentheses, which only grew in the park's higher elevations and were found nowhere else on the planet. Little is known about the nature of the facility which the FRI-UIU and the GOC began constructing beneath the shattered land. I feel that shouldn't that be FBI, UIU, and GOC? Began constructing beneath shattered land at the close of its 2025 fall operating season. Both entities have been tight-lipped about their work, which necessitated the transport of some 200,000 tons of steel and an unknown quantity of anomalous metals and building materials into caves at the park's upper elevations. The Foundation observed this work and analysis and concluded its most likely purpose was to construct a computing facility, a determination too broad to be of use. No evidence of the project or its goals remained above ground when the park's alpine trails reopened for tourism in late spring 2026. In April 2027, Salt Lake Arch was destroyed by subterranean weapons testing by the UIU GOC, an event which set in motion the eventual closure and containment of the Shattered Land National Park. This, to say the least, is an incredible and careless loss to our nation and the world. A more complete log of these events has been included later in this document. Addendum. Anomalous effects. Anomalous effects first manifested at Shattered Land in summer 2026. One of the earliest known reports was made on Reddit's r/National Park subreddit, where a user shared an experience of a supposed paranormal event near famed Salt Lake Arch on July 29th, 2026. Looking for witnesses, weird shit with my face at Salt Lake, July 29. Gonna get downvoted to hell for this shit, but lol, whatever. My wife and I visited Salt Lake, or Salt, hmm? Shat, Shattered Land, I guess. Is that like nomenclature? I don't fucking go on, you can believe it, I don't go on the, National Park subreddit. My wife and I visited SHLD in July for 3 days, 2 nights, and stayed at the lodge. Lifetime dream trip for us. One of our biggest wants was to see sunset at the Salt Lick, so we decided to brave the crowds on the tongue and headed up around 8:45. The hike was great and really isn't as bad as people say, so we would highly recommend it. We got up there around 9:30 and the sun was just at the horizon, so it was perfect. Tons of people, but we knew that going in. After we admired the view for a few minutes, at the top I turned to my wife to ask if she wanted to sit down. She glanced at me and just screamed. I asked what's wrong, but she backed away and started crying. Everyone looked around at us, and a few other people there screamed too and started pointing at me. At this point, I'm obviously totally lost. Like, is there something on me? Is there a bear or some shit? My wife is still freaking out and just pointing at my face. So, take out my phone, turn on the cameras, where it gets really weird. Folks, I am not shitting you. The thing in there was not me. I don't know what it was. Some of it was me, and some of it was, I don't know, close, I guess. My left eye wasn't there, and it looks like the other one was thinner and sort of stretched. No texture on my skin at all. It looked like a sheet of plastic with paint. It looked nothing like me. I'm obviously freaking the fuck out and touching my face, and the weirdest part was it felt normal. Stuff I felt and the stuff I saw on the camera didn't match up. A lot of people were looking at us, and a few tried to come help me, but I was really freaked out and just sort of ran back down the trail towards the woods. Stopped a ways in when I couldn't see the crowd anymore to look at my face again. It was normal. Just right back to normal, like nothing happened. I went back up to the trail to find my wife. She was up. I find my wife, and she was up there calling for me and looking for me. But when I asked her, she was all confused and pissed, like I ran off without warning. She didn't remember shit. Nobody did. Oh, all right. It's like an hour later. I had to go get up and do stuff. I'm back now, though. Tentatively, at least. I don't remember where I was. Right. But she didn't remember shit. Nobody did. As I make sure my mouse isn't dead. Folks, I'm going insane. I should have taken a photo at the time, but I didn't think of it because I was, a little preoccupied with that Gregor Samsa shit going on. So I have no proof this happened, whatsoever. I'm looking for witnesses of this before I lose my damn mind. Was anyone here at Salt Lake Arch on the night of July 29th? Remember seeing some dude with a fucked up face run down the trail? And that's the end of the post. Hold on. Drinking water. Some fries, salty as hell, so now I'm like fucking dry mouth. After SCP-9K containment was effectuated, the above post was removed and censored by Foundation staff, and the author's IP address was tracked. When questioned, the author reported to have no further memory of the events described, nor of making the Reddit post. As most anomalous experiences within 9000 fade from memory within a few hours, this is not considered unusual. Though this document is the earliest known record of a hallucinogenic manifestation, it is far from the only one. The Foundation has recorded 1,910 individual cases of non-lunar hallucination within the park, parentheses, due to their frequency, later onset, and psychological complexity, hallucinations of a second moon are categorized separately, close parentheses. Nauseous. Notable occurrences include numerous recorded encounters with semi-humanoid entities. Descriptions are consistent with prominent celebrities, historical figures, influencers, missing persons, typically with substantial physical alterations. Entities speak haltingly, if at all, and vocalizations are inconsistent with baseline human range. Entities are observed to shift at random, translocating or changing appearance, sometimes rapidly nearing subjects before moving away or vanishing. Such manifestations became increasingly common as SCP-9000, increasingly common at SCP-9000 before abruptly ceasing on or about the July 29th, 2027. An unidentifiable low hum, interspersed with musical stings and simulated human speech, emanating from Shattered Land's geographic features. An unidentifiable low hum, interspersed with musical stings, simulated human speech, emanating from Shattered Land's wildlife, especially birds and insects. The same, but emanating from the guests. Continued and often cited appearance of Fuko, a bear-like quadruped at least a head taller than the largest recorded grizzly bear. Fuko appears most often near park refuge dumps and parking lots, uh, and is frequently mistaken for a mundane grizzly. Biologists hallucinating the bear have compared its traits to those of the extinct Atlas bear, last sighted alive in 1870. Reports that tourists have been attacked by Fuko are considered unreliable, as is blood or other physical evidence reportedly left behind. High school tour group camping at SCP-9000's Group Site B on August 18th, 2026. Collectively reporting the presence of 3 extra members of the class group. The extra campers were described as lifelong friends of the students and were given complete physical descriptions and life histories by several alleged classmates. At 3:18 a.m., the additional campers abruptly stood and walked out of their tents into the darkness. They were not seen again. Notably, 2 young women, purported to be especially close with hallucinated students, retained memories of the meeting after leaving 9000's area of effect and were remanded to Director Daniels for amnestic care. This is the first instance sorry, I lost my track. This is the first instance in which impacted subjects recognized hallucinated figures as persons from their own lives, as well as the first time any subject attained memories of an anomaly after leaving SCP-9000. Uh, the collective invention and sustained hallucination thereafter of a new avian species, Constantine's warbler. Flamboyantly colored mountain-dwelling bird observed to sit on high branches and briefly burst into flight to catch bugs in midair. Despite otherwise having the name and proportions of a slower leaf-eating migrant species, both lay and Both lay and expert observers have noted the bird within SCP-9000, with experts offering detailed scientific explanations of its unexpected appearance and behaviors. 9 days. PTTP, commenting as Pablo Torres, level researcher 3. Bullshit, man. Bull and fucking shit. I have records of Constantine warps from the 80s when I was just getting into the game. My dad taught me that ID when I was a little boy. It's bright pink and green dragonfly catching warbler. Nothing else like it. I have an old crumpled up Audubon guide from 1974 on my shelf at home, all sun-faded and ripped to hell. There's Constantines in that shit. Did SCP-9000 break into my house and plant the book? Bull and fucking shit. That bird is real. Luma is real. PTTP. Don't The chief most anomalies of concern to the Foundation, however, are the second moon phenomenon, string of disappearances among visitors to Shadowland National Park beginning in June 2026. The latter is considered the more pressing concern, as it is directly affecting the non-anomalous world and has resulted in missing persons cases on 3 continents. Foundation is working with the GOC and UIU to recover all missing persons unaccounted for in the park. Disappearances at Shadowland have followed a uniform pattern. Stage 1. The visitor, typically an unaccompanied hiker and never someone under direct observation at the time, vanishes from the park's upper elevations, above 7,000 feet. Most disappearances have occurred after sundown in the vicinity of the Salt Lake Arch. Otherwise. Stage 2. The visitor remains missing for at least 12 hours, sometimes up to 36. In rare cases, they're never recovered. Stage 3. Visitor reappears in the park's lower elevations below 2,000 feet, typically near the Park Lodge Visitor Center. Near either rangers. What? Visitor reappears in the park's lower elevations between 2,000 below 2K feet. Near either rangers aware of the disappearance of families as friends of the missing persons. I don't know what that's trying to say. As with disappearances, no reappearance has ever been observed directly. Stage 4. Upon reappearance, notable changes to the subject's personality are apparent. These changes reportedly fade within time, though it remains unclear whether this effect is due to actual readjustment in subject personalities or due to acclimation by missing subjects' families to their altered states. The latter is strongly suspected. Case study: Maria Ramirez. During a family visit to Shadowland National Park on 15th January 2027, fucking A. Maria Ramirez, 42F, became separated from her family. Family tour group near the Salt Lake Arch on 7:04 p.m. Family reported her missing at 8:31 if they were unable to relocate her. Ramirez remained missing for 30 hours and was rediscovered sleeping in the bed at her family's room at the Shadowland Lodge at 1:13 a.m. on 17th January 2027. Family, including Ramirez's 6-year-old daughter, had relocated to a motel in nearby Hurricane, Utah, and returned to the park the next morning at the behest of authorities, who recorded the following reunion between Ramirez and her child, in which SCP-9000's typical personality alterations were evident. Oh, I hope it's not bad. Note: Dr. Torres has translated the following exchange for this record. Oh, they spoke in Spanish. That's cute. Okay, so begin log. Ramirez is seated at the table at the park superintendent's office. Park rangers are present, as well as Dr. Pablo Torres and 2 Foundation field agents embedded in the National Park Service. Ramirez's husband, daughter, and brother enter. Mateo Ramirez, who is the husband. Maria! Mateo rushes forward to embrace his wife, who does not stand at first, but quickly leaps to her feet and embraces him kind. Maria says her name? Maria Ramirez. Maria. Mateo. Blessings upon us. Oh, mija, but I thought. Uh, okay, so that's weird if nobody knows Spanish, but I do, so. While mija does mean my daughter, in a lot of, specifically my area where we live, I know this much, saying like mijo or mija, even if, like, it's like an endearing term. Spouses will do it pretty often, right? It's an endearing term, even though it also means it's weird. Well, it's not super weird to me because I grew up around it. But if anybody knows Spanish but doesn't know the culture and was like, "Oh, is that also another?" No, that's normal. Luis Gonzalez. We never will know what blessings life has in store. The future is bright after all. Future is bright after all for us. Maria continues to embrace her husband. Her daughter Sarah stands with her uncle near the door. She does not approach near her mother. Mateo. Sarah, come here. Come to mama. Sarah remains still. Her eyes are wide and she clings to her uncle's shirt. Luis. Go on, Nana. It's another affectionate term for someone, but that one is for someone younger than you. Basically saying, go on, baby. Mateo, come here, Sarah. Come to see your mother. Sarah steps slowly across the room to the desk. Mateo, mija, here's your Sarah. Maria, my Sarah. Maria sits back down, looking at the desk. There's a pause as the Rangers shuffle uncomfortably. Mateo, Maria, are you well? Are you all right? Your daughter's right here. Did you check her head? Is she hurt? Dr. Torres, as far as we can tell, she's completely normal, no signs of injury. Mateo, Sarah, come round and speak to her. Sarah remains frozen across the desk, looking at her mother. Sarah, Papa, that's not. Mateo strides around the desk and picks up his daughter, carrying her around to sit in the chair next to Maria. Mateo, here, my love. For the first time, Maria Ramirez begins to notice the girl. She looks at her for a long time before speaking. Different observers described her expression as one of either concern, bemusement, revulsion, avoidance, or most commonly blankness. Tears well up in Sarah's eyes. Maria, the blessings, a daughter, the blessings, what life has in store. Sarah recoils into her father's shirt. Sarah, Papa, make her go away. Mateo, Sarah, what's got into you? Mateo wrenches his daughter away and places her in her mother's lap. She screams and cries, clawing at the air. Sarah, no! Mateo, apologize to your mother. Maria, I'm here to care for you. Do not worry. The future is bright. Maria reaches down and strokes her daughter's hair several times. Sarah clenches her mother's arm and pulls it away. Maria pauses quizzically, then responds in kind, clenching Sarah's arm and wrenching it around, pulling her bodily over the desk and onto the floor. Sarah screams. Mateo, Maria, what? Maria, please, I. Maria stands abruptly. Her husband and the Rangers rush forward to stand between her and her daughter. Maria, the blessings, what life has in store. Maria smiles widely and laughs, moving forward to embrace Mateo, who recoils. She stops, examining the frightened faces of her family members. Oh, I understand. I have made a mistake. Weird. End log. Oh, and there's a little image of the Subal Prime frost lily at Shadowland National Park near the height of wildflower bloom, 9th of August 2025. Fun looking flower. Addendum SCP-9000-B and the Second Moon Anomaly Syndrome. Second Moon Anomaly Syndrome (SMAS) is a Skinner class behavioral psychosis. Unique to SCP-9000 visitors entering the park beginning mid-July 2027. SMAS has universally impacted all visitors to SCP-9000, but tends to dissipate quickly upon departure. However, an estimated 6% of visitors retain symptoms post-exposure and are remanded to Dr. Daniels for amnestic care. The primary system of SMAS is persistent belief that a second moon, hereafter SCP-9000-B, orbits the Earth. This belief is accompanied by intense hallucinations of 9000-B, the description of which remains constant for all observers. Its current position, relative period, and characteristics match at all times whenever described by multiple individuals. Furthermore, observers typically believe 9000-B, which they refer to in English as Luma, has always been present, and that they had somehow forgotten its existence prior to entering 9K. Perhaps most curiously, many observers of 9000-B describe the entity as having been altered from its original appearance. Ugh. Reportedly, large sections of the entity are missing or dark, as with other characteristics. Different subjects are able to pinpoint and describe these discrepancies consistently when pressed. Over time, the alterations to 9KB have grown more apparent to those affected by SMOS, and are often a cause of significant distress. Like other symptoms, however, such emotion dissipates upon departure from SCP-9000. One sec. For those who continue experiencing SMOS subsequent to their visit to SCP-9000, symptoms may become more marked. These subjects suffer from the continuing sensation of the moon in their daily lives, observing it in routine contexts, and encountering a sense of dissonance when others around them are able to perceive it. Furthermore, the continued changes to the body, evident only to them and rejected by those around them, are an ongoing source of distress. Such subjects are high risk for psychological degradation, and amnestic therapy is considered the most acceptable course. SMOS is now considered one of the two primary anomalies impacting Shadowland National Park. However, due to its relatively innocuous nature, further investigation has been deprioritized in favor of containment and investigation of the various missing persons cases and visitor personality alterations. Currently, the primary anomalous concern. What? Oh, hell, let's do Anyway, yet again, here we have comment from Pablo Torres, researcher level 3. I've taken up stargazing to look at her. He still has improper grammar. It pisses me off. Bought a telescope and everything. Parentheses, my burning scope didn't cut it after a while, you know? Close parentheses. I go out to Mount Wrightston, followed by the Madera Canyon... Madera? Canyon trails up into the wilderness, get away from light pollution so I can really look. I want to see what they're doing to her up there. What who is doing to her? I don't have a fucking clue, man. That's what's so... That's what's so crazy. It might be us, honestly. Seems like Foundation kind of deal to tear down the moon. Maybe she's like a big egg up there, or she got transplanted from the moon dimension or whatever, but then why can people in Shattered Land still see it? So real, I guess. So I think it's got to be something with GOC or UIU people because of that. They built something down there. What? Amy correctly spelled what? It has to do with the moon? I don't fucking know. And it doesn't seem like the Foundation knows. Fuck, man. That's the part that pisses me off the most. If that thing's real, no. Fuck no. Luma is real, and what pisses me off the most is whoever's hiding her is tricking the fucking Foundation too. God is containing it now, wiping memory of anyone who can break whatever programming is. And if you get us working for you, Lord. So that is why. I must go back tonight. If I can find proof, show them it's real, they may listen. Jasper's a reasonable man. I still believe in us and in the cause. To my eye, when I get up in the hills, what they're doing is disassembling it. Luma's being torn apart, just like they torn the park apart. PTTP. Pablo Torres. I don't know what the other TP is. I guess. Addendum. UIU GOC collaboration at Shattered Land National Park. Collaboration between UNGOC and FBI UIU without a hyphen. At Shattered Land National Park has been documented as early as the 1970s. When the entities founded an outreach station there for recruitment on Project Vortex, their experimental astral projection network based in Sedona, cooperation between the groups has been tense since the 1980s, when the UIU's approach became markedly more hostile to international efforts and the GOC lost much of its support from the US. Classic. However, it is known that they reached an agreement in the early 2010s to share progress on an unspecified computing and modeling technology, suspected at the time, parentheses, but never confirmed, close parentheses, to relate to automated warfare. The UIU began increasing its domestic research operations significantly in February 2025. Throughout that year, the organization clashed with both GOC and SCP Foundation on various occasions, vying for control of disputed sites and claiming hierarchical authority over investigations previously handled independently or in collaboration with partner agencies. In August 2025, the SCP Foundation formally severed working ties with the UIU. Oh, damn. After a botched joint raid on a Chaos Insurgency site led to the loss of 49 Foundation personnel and 116 UIU operatives. Holy shit. This decision caused the U.S. government to withdraw significant financial support from the Foundation, though the matter has thus far not led to a disruption in regular operations. GOC-UIU collaboration at Shattered Land... Whoops. Sorry, just... What the hell is this? Just looking at some notifications. GOC-UIU collaboration at Shattered Land began in November 2025 when the park's signature high-altitude attractions, including Salt Lake Arch, were closed for the winter season. Foundation assets of the park observed some 95 trucks and pieces of heavy equipment arriving at the gates under the cover of night, carrying the aforementioned steel as well as racks of computing equipment. Some of this equipment was later positively identified to be anomalous. This factor first allowed the Foundation to posit a link between UIU's operation at the site and the GOC, as only the Foundation and GOC are known to the technology to produce such resources. Is that grammatically correct? I don't know. There's an image here of the path down to the cave entrances near the Salt Lake Arch Trail summit. Construction at Shattered Land continued throughout the winter and occurred entirely underground within known cave systems beneath the Salt Lake Arch. Foundation operatives tried repeatedly to gain entrance to the caves but were caught and ejected each time, with increasingly stern warnings from the UIU not to interfere. After one such attempt led to an armed standoff at the park's gate, Site-01 ordered infiltration efforts to cease. Thus, the extent and nature of UIU GOC construction at Shattered Land remains unknown, but is posited to extend many kilometers from the entrance to the cave system. The nature of the technology suggests a furtherance of the computing and modeling collaboration the groups undertook in the early 2010s. Anomalous events at Shattered Land began the summer of 2026 operating season. While this observation suggests a link between the UIU GOC project and the anomalies, both organizations strongly deny this and insist the facility is a mundane military installation. As this would seem to confirm Foundation's suspicions that the project between two groups was an automated weapons project, it remains possible that the anomaly is an unrelated consequence of their activities rather than the direct result of the technology they have constructed. Further investigation is needed. The spring of 2027 collapse of Salt Lake Arch, however, is thought to have resulted directly from UIU GOC activity. This event and the fact that SMOS began impacting guests shortly thereafter led the Foundation to effect containment and designate the entire park as a contaminated zone. Timeline of Salt Lake Arch collapse, April 14, 2027. 8:12 a.m. Foundation operatives enter the park for routine patrols shortly after the main gates open at 8 a.m. Crowds for the day, a warm spring morning in the early operating year, are unusually high, and park service staff are notably struggling to control them even in the morning. 8:31 a.m. First visitors of the day, a group of trail runners are at Salt Lake Arch. Additional visitors arrive the arch more slowly in the next several hours until the observation deck and trails are filled beyond capacity. Holy shit. Okay, so it's anomalous then. An estimated 1,100 guests are near the arch by 11 a.m., as recorded by the park security cameras. In the absence of staff on site, park goers are able to spill off the trails and beneath the arch itself, a restricted area. 11:03 a.m. A low, resonant humming sound emanates from an unknown location beneath the arch. Its tone and duration are similar to those of other sounds observed on occasion at the park, and frequently herald anomalous events. Foundation agents are immediately alerted to begin climbing the trail to Salt Lake Arch. 11:04 a.m. Sound occurs again. All visitors near the Salt Lake Arch fall silent at the same time and turn in the same direction of the arch, looking down. Agents are a tenth of the way up the trail at this time. 11:05 a.m. Sound occurs again. Notable seismological disturbances are evident as trees and rocks near the arch are displaced. That's incorrect right there. Many visitors fall to the ground, but none react. 11:06 a.m. Sound occurs again. All visitors to the arch collapse. Seismological disturbances increase. Small rocks and dust falling from the arch, landing on several groups of visitors directly beneath it. Agents are a fourth of the way up the trail this time. I am nauseous. Ugh. 11:07 a.m. Sound occurs again. Seismological disturbances increase drastically. Earthquake detection equipment is triggered in nearby areas, and breach alarm sounds at Foundation Utah Field Station nearest the shattered land, alerting site MTF. Park cameras record significant cracks forming in left side base of Salt Lake Arch as fundamental structures compromised. 11:08 a.m. Sound occurs again. Visitors on the ground open their eyes. Many rise to a sitting position, though some are unable to do so due to the shaking force of the earth. Major pieces of Salt Lake Arch are dislodged as the structure begins to collapse. Those visitors beneath it at the time are buried, considered lost. 11:09 a.m. Sound occurs again. Visitors who remain conscious begin to vocalize in unison. Though their vocalizations are unknown, as site cameras do not record audio, cameras at different locations display visitor faces appearing to change from various angles, sometimes merging into each other or the scenery around them. 11:09 a.m. 49 seconds. For several frames, the cameras universally display all visitor faces as identical reproductions of the screaming face of Maria Ramirez. 11:10 a.m. Sound occurs for the final time. Seismic disturbances at the site cease. Foundation agents, whose progress up the trail had been slowed significantly by the shaking, are able to ascend to the arch shortly thereafter, finding the structure completely destroyed save for its right-hand pillar. Agents immediately issue a critical emergency declaration to nearby sites and civilian emergency authorities. 11:12 a.m. Agents are able to record a brief interview with one guest, 14-year-old Amelia Orellana, before she passes out. Note: all guests near the arch, including Bonnevoy, who were not lost in its collapse, later experienced complete brain death, leading to the first deployment of MTF Nu 42, Inherit the Wind, in association with the site. Begin log. Agent. Miss, are you alright? Miss? Orellana. Hola. Hello. Hola. Bonjour. Agent. Miss, we're going to get you help. Can you sit up? Orellana. Ciao. Salam. Hej. Hello? Agent. Miss, can you understand me? Can you sit up? Orellana. Alan? Oi? Anyang? Anyang Iseo? I don't... Is that one word? Orellana pauses, then jerks her head suddenly to look at the agent. Orellana. I am ready to cooperate. I am ready to cooperate. I am ready to... Orellana collapses. She does not speak again. End log. Afterward. Following destruction of the Salt Lake Arch, UIU and GOC claimed responsibility for the seismic events, stating that they had resulted from subterranean weapons testing. They denied knowledge of the anomalous mental effects on park goers, but assisted Foundation in containment efforts and compensation of families. At present, Foundation has no basis to question the UIU GOC account of the events. The arch collapse caused a major national incident. Shadowland National Park was closed by civilian authorities until July. SMAS began affecting visitors to Shadowland shortly after the park reopened, I guess, at which point the Foundation effectuated current containment. Pablo Torres, research level 3. Still can't believe it's gone. We all get to MPS work for the love of it. We all have a place we want to end up. Shadowland was mine. The air, the animals, the hoodoos, the color of the stone. There is no place on this earth as ethereally lovely. I was, and am, ready to die happily working in this place. When they closed it down for containment, all the regular staff had to leave, lost their jobs mostly. Few got relocated or furloughed. Inherit the Wind did their thing. Now nobody remembers this place even exists. To say I'm sick at heart does not begin to describe it. I like to think that maybe, if I can get Jasper to see the real issues, we can clean up whatever's happening. Maybe someday it can open again. But probably not. It's probably lost. No matter what, even if it's just for myself, I have to know. I'll post my last eBird list here from the Arch area. Tracked it 3 days for a collapse. I don't know why I'm putting this up. One last memorial, I guess. Head into the park. eBird checklist 0844759600589. Shadowland National Park and Preserve, Salt Lick Arch Area 27-04-11 or April 11, 2027. Pablo Theodore Torres Padilla. I guess he found his name. 12 species. 6 common raven, 21 turkey vulture, 1 ferruginous hawk, 3 stellar's jay, 2 Clark's nutcracker, 2 Bullock's oriole, 2 hairy woodpecker, 1 Casson's finch, 2 house finch, 3 black-headed grosbeak, 1 Townsend's warbler, and 2 Constantine's warblers. Checklist comments. Pretty early for Constantine's. Addendum. Incursion at SCP-9 Cave by Pablo Torres. On September 8th, 2027, SCP Foundation researcher Pablo Torres, a National Park Service liaison of the Foundation, formerly stationed at Shadowland National Park, breached the perimeter at 9000, made his way to the entrance of the cave system containing the UIU GOC research facility. Records show Torres had never self-reported any anomalous effects from his time working at the park. However, he is now recognized as a long-term sufferer of SMAS. A log of his incursion is included below. Begin log. Camera 119, SCP-9000 main gate. 2:11 a.m. 2 guards stationed at 9000's main gate, conversing while playing cards. Moon is visible behind them, illuminating the scene brightly. Still 2:11. Researcher Torres comes into view at the edge of the frame, dressed in black, carrying a Foundation-issue nightstick and an unknown weapon, later determined to be a mimetic incapacitation agent of his own design. Torres attempts to sneak up to the guard station on the right while guards are distracted. 2:12 a.m., guard notices Torres and shouts, learning the other guard, who draws his sidearm. Yadama turns away and exposes the mimetic... Yadama? What? Turns away and exposes the mimetic... Oh, that's the camera, right? Is that the camera's name? What? And exposes the mimetic agent. No, that's gotta be Researcher Torres, right? He turns away and, like, releases it, so he doesn't get, like, see it. Why did the name change? There's a flash and the camera feed cuts out. Ow. Camera 123, SCP-9000 entrance trail 02. 2:15 a.m. Torres runs down a trail near the entrance to 9000, shaking his head periodically and rubbing his eyes. He heads in the direction of the entrance to the vehicle bay. Camera 130, SCP-9K, Garage 1. 2:17 a.m. Torres enters the entrance vehicle bay. Nobody is present, but a jeep is parked in the first space with the keys inside. Torres commandeers the vehicle and proceeds into the park. Various cameras. 2:18 a.m. to 2:41 a.m. Torres's jeep winds its way up to the park's main road, ascending rapidly towards the closed Salt Lick overlook area. Torres must frequently drive off-road to surpass closures, collapsed areas, and construction sites. At times he stops or pulls off for unknown hazards which the camera cannot detect. He frequently photographs these. I guess those would be the warblers, potentially, right? Camera 212, SCP-9000, Arch Trail 24. 2:42 a.m. Torres' jeep nears the entrance to Salt Lake Arch Trail Highway. As he drives, a group of 3 young women are visible on the side of the road. Torres does not appear to notice him. The 3 wave at his vehicle. One of them steps forward. The jeep approaches. She fails to retreat in time, and Torres collides with her at speed, knocking her forcefully into the barrel pit. Where the other 2 girls rush to examine her, the jeep disappears in the distance. Is this implying, like, didn't see them at all? Yeah, it does not appear to notice them. Camera 218, 9K Arch Trail 2. 2:46 a.m. Torres arrives at the foot of the Salt Lake Arch Trail and exits the Jeep. Removes the flashlight and turns it on, looks up at the sky and turns it off again. Moonlight's evidently bright enough to illuminate his path. He proceeds up the trail towards the arch site and cave entrances. Camera 231, 9K Arch Hike Info. 2:53 a.m. Torres enters a clearing near the halfway point of the Salt Lake Arch Trail where several dumpsters, restrooms, and informational placards for arch and surrounding geology are located. He pauses here in seeming apprehension, staring at the dumpsters before retreating rapidly toward one of the restrooms and pulling himself out into the roof. No cause for alarm is evident on the video feed. Torres swings his nightstick towards the ground several times, making contact with an unseen object before recoiling back onto the roof as the stick is ripped from his hands with great force. Can't with great force. A portion of the skin on Torres' hand appears to be ripped away in the exchange. The entire bathroom building shakes and dents appear on the roof as if force has been applied from the side nearest to Torres. Recoils further, pauses briefly before drawing the medic agent again. Covering his face and ears and shirt, activating it, camera feed cuts out. So his name didn't change that time, so it's not implied to be like a medic agent effect, so I think that was just a mistake earlier when his name changed. I think. Camera 240, 9K Salt Lake Summit. 3:38 a.m. Torres appears at the summit of Salt Lake hiking trail, near the former arch observation platform. Injured hand is wrapped in a portion of his shirt. He's walking unsteadily, repeatedly rubbing his eyes and ears, and now using his flashlight. Consulting a trail map, he turns left from the platform and moves towards the cave entrances further down the path. Camera 241, SCP-9000, Salt Lake denied. What? 3:41 a.m. Torres reaches the cave entrances. Per request from UIU GOC Unit 4 vacated the site. Caves beneath have been sealed to prevent access where the groups can dismantle the subterranean facilities. Caves are blocked by steel barring, behind which large double doors have been welded shut. Torres begins to surmount the bars. Silent proximity alarms triggered in both the guard station and Utah Foundation field office, which discovers the gate agents incapacitated. MTF deployed to site. Director Jasper Daniels is woken and alerted. 3:43 a.m. Torres successfully surmounts the bars, alighting in front of the double doors. He tries and fails to open them, then begins examining the welding on the surface. Withdraws a small acetylene torch from his clothing and applies it to the hinges, repeatedly yanking and twisting on them as he works. Doors begin to give way. 3:47 a.m. Torres breaks through the double doors, which collapse off their hinges and fall before him. Beyond is a steep stone passageway, the entrance to a former tourist area at the mouth of Shadowland National Park's undeveloped cave system. Sitting at the bottom of the passageway is the gaunt form of 14-year-old Amelia Orellana, killed in the Salt Lake Arch collapse earlier that year. She raises her head to stare at Yadama. His name changed again. Orellana, are you ready to cooperate? Torres screams, stumbling backward and falling. He lands hard, directly into his medic agent with triggers inches from his face. Ah, poor bastard. 4:03 a.m. MTF operatives discover Torres unconscious at the entrance of the cave system, intercepted for transport to the Utah field office. Per UIU GOC SCP contract 9K10.2, or Alana's reseal within the cave. This is the UIU symbol. Warning, further files restricted to level 4 9000 personnel. Unauthorized access is grounds for immediate court-martial and refer to the partner agencies for processing and detainment. Continue, YN. We are continuing. Nothing. Still 9000, level 4 secret. Putting on my glasses again, if that's why you saw me pause. Containment class, esoteric. Secondary class, archon. Disruption class, amida. Risk class, critical. Both of which are 5. There's an image of a warning sign near 9K, obscured by anomalies perceptive cloaking. Procedures. Targets for 9K consciousness capture are primarily selected by FBI UIU representatives in coordination with the GOC. Where applicable, Foundation may offer input on captures and is advised to do so in a timely manner to maintain good working relations. Beyond this, Foundation's main interest in 9K is contractually agreed maintenance and testing of perception-altering technologies jointly developed by UIU GOC SCP Working Group. On-site personnel are to complete these tasks without unduly impeding development and operation of the largest systems in place. As the global blocking effect obscuring 9K-1 is disabled in the vicinity of 9K, visitors to the area are prohibited from looking at the sky. Let me sip water. Description: 9000 is the shattering a computing and artificial intelligence engine occupying 450 square kilometers beneath the former Shattered Land National Park Preserve in southwestern Utah, United States, jointly constructed by FBI, UAU, and GOC. While it has been put to use for a variety of reasons, while it has been put for a variety of uses, main intended functions of 9K are maintain a set of simulated realities capable of rehousing real human consciousness from the material world, generate AI capable of replicating human minds rehoused within 9K simulations, to create, in pursuit of these goals, psychological phenomena capable of altering human behavior. Collective goal of these functions for UIU-GOC Working Group to facilitate disappearance, containment, or alteration of any living person at will, as well as to recreate any contained consciousness with alterations suitable to their operational priorities and to effect necessary societal or humanitarian changes for seamless integration of newly generated consciousnesses into working populace. Placement of 9K artificial minds within their host bodies requires the host's real consciousness be maintained in simulated space. This has resulted in increasing computing and power generation demands on the project, as each simulation can house a finite number of minds for reaching capacity. 9K1 is the working group's current response to these concerns. See below. To assist in development of simulated minds, UIU-GOC placed computing systems within a national park. This provided the working group with several benefits. Easy access to a diverse group of minds for both testing and capture. Adequate solar and geothermal power generation for testing phase of the project due to Shatterland's location and natural resources. An existing culture of both isolation and superstition that makes casting doubt on any unusual happenings in the area simpler. For example, park-wide mind and body scans during the testing phase are commonly dismissed as hallucinations without further interference. Note: individuals captured and recreated. What the fuck is this image? Individuals captured and recreated during testing phase of the project, roughly January 2026 to present, have experienced a prolonged adaptation period. 9K's perception and insertion effects have greatly assisted their recreations in adapting to their surroundings by suggesting that it appears that their eccentricities were normal. Those subjects who could not be recreated to a suitable degree have been repurposed for continued work at Shattering Site, including as site guards, maintenance staff, and experimental subjects. The Foundation remains a position of official neutrality toward SCP-9000. However, the ability to digitize minds for long-term storage promises significant advantages for containment, as does the ability to replace an existing individual deemed hostile to our organizational mission. As such, our organization has contracted with the UIU-GOC Working Group for the purpose of containing the project as it develops, and are currently testing both anomalous storage capability of the Shattering and several 9000 technologies deemed potentially beneficial for containment efforts. There are two, but before that, let's look at this image, which is the entrance to the National Park subterranean caverns, taken on November 12, 2026. Very spooky lighting. Big fan, I'd say. Anyway, technologies deemed potentially beneficial are perceptive cloaking. Foundation is contracted with the UIU-GOC to test its mass perception alteration technology by scrubbing the existence of certain animal species, such as the Atlas bear, from collective human perception. Shattered Land National Park's isolated nature and numerous endemic species make it an ideal location for testing of such tech, which has so far shown promise for containment efforts. Perceptive insertion. Foundation has contract with the UIU-GOC to test its memory seeding technology by embedding memories of non-existent species, such as Constantine's warbler, into certain park visitors. This technology has been more difficult to implement on a large scale, but has shown promise among subjects susceptible to mimetic suggestion, and has promise for containment also. Addendum 9K-1. 9K1 is a gargantuan megastructure currently under construction at Sun-Earth L2 Lagrange point, built primarily with material from Luma, Earth's second moon. Goal of 9K1 is to capture solar energy en masse, as at its intended capacity, the device will be capable of generating sufficient power to sustain 3.2 million complete simulated realities within SCP-9K, far exceeding the system's initial capacity of 50. Power will be absorbed via a solar array and transferred to Earth, where a large receiver device within Shattered Land National Park has been constructed at the site of former Salt Lick Arch to receive it. While the location of the arch was unfortunate, its destruction was ultimately necessary after analysis of existing UIU-GOC infrastructure at the site revealed this as the most efficient placement of the receiver device. More water. 9K1 has already increased 9K's capacity 100-fold in its first month of operation, with only a fraction of the mined material from Luma put to use so far. Furthermore, joint UIU-GOC SCP developed global perceptive cloaking system created to mass construction of 9000-1, and the disassembly of the moon has exceeded expectations, with all three organizations eager to examine possible application in further contexts. To date, UIU-GOC Group has captured the consciousness of 1,512 individuals within SCP-9000 and recreated the consciousness of 98% of those individuals using AI tech. Consciousness capture is nearing the conclusion of Stage 1 testing and commencement of Stage 2, which can proceed as 9000-1 advances in energy output. SB Foundation Project Liaison Jasper Daniels has registered our organization's interest in collaborating with the UIU-GOC on target selection for Stage 2. Begin log. 9K Liaison Jasper Daniels enters the room. Researcher Torres is seated at a table, the unredacted 9K file open before him. His head is in his hands, and Daniels sits down. Daniels. How you doing, Pablo? Torres is silent. I'm actually here to ask for help, believe it or not. Torres glances up. Not. I pick not. Daniels. That's fair, I'll give you a minute. But I need to talk to you about what's next. Torres is silent for a while Daniels raises and pours coffee in the corner. He glances around the room. Torres. So what's next? Death, I presume? Daniels. We're not going to kill you, Pablo. You're a good man. Torres. Are you supposed to be good cop here? What do you even want from me? Why did you show me that file? I'm barely level 3. Torres gestures to the open folder on the table and buries his face in his hands again. Daniels. We wouldn't have shown you if we were going to kill you, tell that much. Daniels walks around the table and sits next to Torres. Lots of people didn't want to show you, but I did, Pablo. Daniels puts his arm on Torres' back. Pablo, I want you to work with us. Torres doesn't move, keeping his head buried. Torres, muffled. Fuck do you mean? Daniels, you knew if you could remember Luma, you were supposed to come to see me. It's because I need people like you, Pablo. People who can still remember, who can resist it. Torres, yeah, so you can fucking wipe us. Daniels, no, Pablo, so you can help me resist. Torres leaps up. I saw your name in the file, asshole. I saw what you were doing. 1,500 people fucking zombified. All those kids. Daniels. I know, horrific. I think about it all the time, Torres. Then why the fuck? Daniels. And I want you to know it could have been 100. It could have been 10,000 by now if my team wasn't here. Torres. Oh yeah? Daniels. Yeah. Daniels stands and walks to a cabinet in the corner, produces a series of documents and hands them to Torres. Project files. We knew about the shattering from the beginning. We've had guys on the inside working with them. Thanks to us, it's been kept small, limited. Daniels. No, he's looking up. They wanted to test it nationwide, hundreds of sites, convinced them to build one national park, place to have lots of traffic but could be kept out of the way. They went for it. They wanted to start sucking in anyone they liked immediately. Criminals, political opponents. We convinced them to test it until we were sure the simulations were hospitable. Sure they weren't doing something humane. Torres, but Daniels. When their systems couldn't generate enough power, they wanted to redirect the whole eastern seaboard for it. Cut off the supply for everyone. We convinced them to take Luma instead, with our help. Daniels. All of this, Pablo, it could be so much worse if we weren't cooperating. But it could collapse any time. We're hanging by a thread and we need people like you. People who can see through the simulations, be ready for work for us. Not going off on your own, breaking in, getting yourself killed or worse. We need you on your team. Torres. Torres sits back down. This cannot be the way to do this. We have so many resources. We have power. Daniels. They have those things too, Pablo. You don't get anywhere from fighting it directly. But if we work with them, we still have a chance to make this better for people. Torres. I can't, Daniels. Come on, man. Daniels rises and strides to the window. Beyond it, the sun is rising, but both moons are still faintly visible. Daniels points to them. We can see them both. Do you have any idea how few people can say that now? If you stay here, work with me, you can finally talk about it. I'm on your side. Torres looks down silently. The Warbler. Daniels, what about it? Torres. Fucking Constantine's Warbler. You're telling me it's really fake? Daniels. Yeah. Torres. But it's in my book from when I was a kid. Daniels. Our implementation is powerful. Just because you're immune to some of it doesn't mean you'll fall for the rest. People believe what they want to believe. If you work with me, I'll give you the truth on everything. No more lies. Yadama looks down. What is with the name change concept? I hope it'll explain it, because it's the same name every time. Torres. Okay. Daniels grins. Okay? Torres. Yes, fuck. Okay, I just want to feel safe again. End log. I get that. 9K onboard doc, Torres P. Dear Pablo Torres. We're pleased you have elected to join our efforts at the Shattering Project to facilitate your smooth transition to the UIU GOC standard operating conditions. Please read and abide by these governing documents in full. Failure to abide by the documents will result in suspension from your post without pay. Please arrive at your terminal by 6 a.m. each day. Your position is not eligible for remote work. Primary work responsibility will consist of assessing and implementing procedures for selection of targets for Stage 2 capture by the Join UIU GOC Simulation Project. Per contract 9K13.4C, SCP Project Liaison staff have advisory authority over initial UIU GOC targets and may submit additional targets for consideration of other group liaisons. Please complete your assessment of targets in a timely manner. Artificial intelligence assistance is available to accelerate your work should it be required. Welcome. God St. Pierre, UIU Liaison to SCP Foundation. Project Shattering Deputy Director for Personnel. Incident 9K148. On 2027-9/14, multiple emergency calls replaced the Hurricane Utah Police Department by families claiming their children have gone missing. Fires of Freddy's. Authorities investigated but could not locate any evidence that the children ever existed in any of the reporting households and chose to disregard the claims as pranks. Foundation scanners intercepted the chatter and determined it to be the result of spillover effects of the Shattering Project. First time a non-target impact had been observed beyond the borders of particular households in Hurricane based on redacted. The discovering personnel, researcher Pablo Torres, registered concern and the incident was noted. Children were collected on the cover of night following evening. eBird checklist 0845098234008. Shatterland National Park and Preserve, Eastgate, 2027, 9/14. Pablo Theodore Torres Padilla. 16 species. 3 common raven, 1 red-tailed hawk, 1 ferruginous hawk, 4 white-breasted nuthatch, or nuthatch, I don't know. 2 pygmy nuthatch, 2 Bollock's oriole, 8 common grackle, 2 Clark's nutcracker, 1 downy woodpecker, 1 hairy woodpecker, 1 Williamson's sapsucker, 11 Cassin's finch, 2 black-headed grosbeak, 1 Townsend's warbler, 2 yellow warbler, and a Wilson's warbler. Checklist comments. 0 Constantine's warbler in the height of migration. Still can't believe it. Incident 9K153. On 2027, October 6th, the authorized simulatory capture of Redacted took place. Unauthorized simulatory capture of Redacted took place, rendering 2/3 of the town of San Bolomar, California, unpopulated. Researcher Pablo Torres raised a flag on the operation within the Utah field office, who inquired and were told the capture was an error. However, as captures are presently reversible, no way to restore the town's population is presently known. Should that be irreversible? All AI recreations of the citizens are presently being crafted with the assistance of Torres. To Daniels J. from Torres P. Fuck, my hip cracked. October 6, 2027. Jasper, these people are incompetent. I don't know how they built this system, but it's falling apart. It's only working this well because we're feeding them mind-blocking text and nobody notices the gaps, but they can't program for shit. And they can't build a chatbot, let alone a human mind. That has to be a better way. And by the way, you can redact all you want, but we both know who did and didn't get caught in that accident and why they were picked. PTTP. To Torres P from Daniels J. October 6th, 2027. Keep the faith, Pablo. We're making a difference. Chin up, Jasper. Notice from Records Information Security Administration. October 7th, is on 2027. SCP-9K UIU GOC reprimand file Torres P. Pedro Torres. Per our discussion at the site yesterday, please find attached the disciplinary record reviewed and approved by your supervisor, Jasper Daniels. Your delays in approving targets for Stage 2 capture have caused unnecessary backlog in the capture system. Your stated reasons for denying capture are deemed by command to be in disregard to standards and priorities of the UIU GOC SCP shared mission, and you are hereby directed to cease and desist from obstruction of mission. Failure to comply will be met with suspension or reassignment. Dodge St. Pierre, UIU Liaison, SCP Foundation, Project Shattering Deputy Director for Personnel. I presume this logo in the background is like the joint logo, which is badass as fuck. Is that anywhere I can see clearly? Because you gotta release that separately, dude. That looks sick. To Torres P. from Daniels J. October 7th, 2027. Sorry about that note, Jasper. Sorry about that note, Pablo. Gotta play along. Try to walk it back a bit for now, Jasper. Commenting as Pablo Torres, Research Level 3. Bull and fucking shit. Comment deleted by author. His profile's gone. Breaking. Mass psychosis incident leads to 7 deaths near Denver. Denver, Colorado, AP, whatever that means. Fleeing crowds trampled the farmers market and left 7 dead and dozens injured in suburban Denver Friday in what authorities are describing as an incident of mass psychosis. According to a report from Colorado State Attorney's Office, stampede began after several people in a crowd at an outdoor performance venue raised concerns about an apparent second moon visible in the sky. Paranoia spread rapidly in the assembled group, resulting in a collective panic as members claiming to see the moon accused those who could not of lying or tricking them. As the altercation continued, physical alterations in the group broke out. Many in the crowd attempted to flee, led to mass exodus as nearly 200 people climbed the walls and pushed each other to escape the area, demolishing equipment and stalls in the chaos. Authorities said the deaths likely resulted when the victims, 7 older adults who were attending the event together, could not escape the crowd's rush in time. Our hearts go out to the families, Larimer County Sheriff Skip McDermott said. We're all just trying to make sense of how this could happen. Mass psychosis is a well-documented phenomenon in which fearsome, unknown, or illusory harm spreads through social influence, often resulting in real physical symptoms of injury or illness even when no actual cause is present. Whether the second moon seen by crowd members was the result of such psychosis remains under investigation. Incident 9K206. Torres was reprimanded after assaulting a pair of UIU operatives near their quarters, whom he accused of misusing SB Foundation resources for personal gain. Investigation revealed that Torres had not been made aware of Project Mine, a financial endeavor between organizations that use a portion of simulation space and captured consciousness within 9000 to efficiently generate cryptocurrency, which has greatly increased economic stability of the project and allowed for more rapid progression of 9K1. Torres registered personal grievances with the arrangement, but agreed to drop the matter at the behest of site liaison Jasper Daniels. To Daniels from Torres. October 26. Hi, Jasper. Overheard some of the UIU guys saying the new operating goal is phasing out simulations entirely by the end of the year. Is that your understanding? Not only would that break the entire project since their tech can't support it, but it would give them an excuse to cut off power to everyone living the sim right now and make capturing and recreating mines tantamount to killing people outright. I presume we're not going along with that? PTTP. Alert. Sent 5 days ago. Receiver is not open. Follow-up? Y/N. I presume that means they got him. eBird checklist 084509867801. Shattered Land National Park and Preserve, East Gate, 2027, 1101. Pablo Theodore Torres Padilla. 9 species. 12 common raven, 2 red-tailed hawk, 2 pygmy nuthatch, 7 Clark's nutcracker, 1 black-billed magpie, 1 downy woodpecker, 4 mountain chickadee, 9 black-capped chickadee, 1 purple finch. Checklist comments. I gotta keep going. Incident 9K258. On November 19, 2027, critical failure of server algorithm overseeing AI requests to 9K simulated intelligences took place, resulting in cascading containment failure in brief. There is so much loud fucking music in this house. They can never play the shit at a normal volume. I hope it's not picking up when I'm talking. I'm gonna go silent just to see if it'll pick up ambiently. Doesn't look like it. That's good, I guess. Resulting in a cascading containment failure and brief partial BK class broken masquerade scenario. That morning, routine atmospheric interference it's getting louder. I'm gonna pause until that shit stops. It's pissing me off. A lot louder, and now it can pick up on my mic. There's still music, but it's not picking up anymore, at least, and I'm getting, like, actually so fucking mad listening to it. Now someone's banging on the goddamn wall. I just want to read fucking files, dude. That morning, routine atmospheric interference disrupted the link between 9001 and the receiving mechanism at ground level, causing a power disruption lasting approximately 6 seconds. While such a disruption would normally be well within the parameters for overflow power management at the site, a hitherto undetected programming error, combined with the increased draw of 9000's new currency mining operation, caused several core servers to fail on the site's anomalous computing hub. This fucking song got loud again. In the time before they could be brought back online, AI simulations exhibited erratic behavior in approximately 60% of instances, calling functions which did not exist or reading code from undesignated sources. As a result, these instances automatically reset, leading to apparent collapse of redacted in 49 major cities and 17 states. Automobile collisions alone caused an estimated 439 fatalities in the first minute of the reset. As ongoing fallout continued and SCP operatives struggled to reassert containment protocols, it rapidly became apparent that the total number of captured and simulated consciousness far exceeded that reported by UIU GOC liaisons. Projected totals exceeded Foundation approved number by a redacted amount, but the amount is in four digits. 4-digit percent. When all AI instances eventually did reload, it was discovered that much of their learned social adaptations had been lost, leading to highly apparent discrepancies in the personality and actions of blank percent of U.S. population. 1-digit percent, hot damn. In an attempt to restore the AI, UIU personnel on site redirected substantial power from the simulation banks housing captured consciousnesses, depowering several servers and housing an estimated 904 minds. When the servers were repowered, it was discovered that 118 million years. Fuck me, it's so loud. Okay, I just had to wait to see if it would pick up. It didn't, thank God. I'm gonna just post this shit when it's done. I'm so mad. Oh, I recorded this shit at 3. It's 6, dude. It's fucking 6. 118 million years of simulated time had passed during the partial depowering, during which activity in the server had remained frozen in a holding state. As meaningful communication was no longer possible with the consciousnesses housed in the servers, decision was made to terminate activity and reset the devices. Social media reports of personality alterations spread rapidly. MTF New 42, Inherit the Wind, was mobilized to begin mass disbursement of digital and atmospheric amnestics. However, UIO-GUC operatives, believing that traditional disbursement would not be swift enough to contain the incident, instead opted to alter SMOS class Luna suppression filter to block perception of 9000 AI-generated entities altogether. No shocker that this, in turn, worsened the event and led to more serious BK class scenario, as it facilitated the apparent disappearance of blank, comma, blank, 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 comma, blank, blank, blank people simultaneously, so somewhere in the millions. Furthermore, as the operatives hastily overwrote the filter without first backing it up, Luma and 001, or Luma and 9K1 were revealed to the global population for a period of 7 hours before the filter could be fully recreated. Fallout from incident continues, necessitating full efforts from liaison teams. Site liaison Jasper Daniels seated at the desk. Door opens and researcher Pablo Torres bursts inside. Guards at the door raise their weapons, but Daniels waves them down. It's so loud in here. Oh, you're kidding. I have to pause again. Alright, finally stopped. During the time the music was playing, I got so mad I broke a fucking part of my desk. What the fuck was it? Torres. Jasper. Daniels. Pablo, what's the matter? Torres, I can't fucking take this. Torres drops a thick sheaf of papers on Daniels' desk. Daniels eyes it. What's this? Torres, my report and my fucking resignation. Daniels. Now listen, Torres. You said we were stalling them? Containing them? Their impact? They've been lying to us the whole goddamn time, and I think you know it. Daniels. Pablo, please calm down. You know as well as I do. Torres. He repeats the redacted number again. Jasper. And how many of them were blank or blank or blank, huh? How fucking many? Various minorities. Pablo. Daniels, Pablo, Torres, this is not what I joined NPS to do. This is not what I joined the Foundation to do. I'm a programmer. I'm a fucking bird researcher. I'm not a goddamn... Daniels, Pablo, listen to me. Daniels sighs, rubbing his brow. Look, I know how this seems. And if you think I'm happy about it, you're dead wrong. I feel like a fool too, Torres. Then, Daniels, but... These people are still our partners. We are colleagues, not enemies. The only way to make sure this project stays on the rails is to work together. We cannot allow incidents like this to come between us. Torres. Are you actually shitting me? Daniels. Pablo, don't be this way. We were working well together. Torres. I was working with you to... Daniels. To protect mankind. To keep the veil safe. To effect containment so millions do not die in the dark. Torres. To use the might of the most powerful organizations on Earth against the weakest... Daniels. No, Pablo, you're not hearing me. You're not thinking. Daniels walks around the desk. Torres clenches his fist, but Daniels just smiles. Please try to see my position. You know the work you've done just as well as I do, yes. There are more people captured than we realize, but your rejections, your counsel are taken seriously too. Your complaints are heard and taken seriously. We're doing the work. Torres. I'm reprimanded when I so much as raise a finger. Daniels. I'm so sorry to hear that, but I have word with the UIU about it. It's against policy for them to treat you this way. Maybe we can find you some better accommodation or pay to make up for the lapse. But Pablo, we have you on board if we are to continue. We have to have you on board if we are to continue. Torres stares at his hands. He looks up at Daniels and out the window, over at the guards, finally a huge stack of papers on his desk. He sighs. Daniels, are you ready to cooperate? Torres, I don't know, maybe for a little while at least, but I... Say that again? Daniels, are you ready to cooperate? Torres pales. He turns and begins to run for the door, dropping his papers and bag, leaving everything behind. Daniels sighs. I've made a mistake. He nods towards one of the guards, who raises his stick and hits Torres across the head. Torres collapses to the floor. End log. So going to be another... Nope, it's the end of it. Pablo awoke in a white bed. Around him were green, blue, and orange sunlit drapes and trees. He was in a top-floor room at the shuttered land park lodge in the late afternoon, with warm, dry air blowing in from the open window. Bird song drifted through the sky from pines across the way. He stretched himself. He felt good, fantastic even. How long had he slept? Last thing he remembered was... Fuck. Pablo jumped from the bed, looking around frantically. He had been to Jasper Daniels' office, been to confront him with the report that they weren't proving anything. He had heard Jasper say something terrible. He made a run for it. Had he gotten away? He couldn't remember, but he felt safe, comfortable even. Things seemed okay. What had happened? There was a gentle knock on, and the bedroom door swung open. Jasper Daniels was there in his clean, pressed NPS uniform with the Foundation insignia pin. Pablo stepped back, but Jasper just smiled with what seemed like genuine warmth. Pablo, you're awake. Thank goodness. How are you feeling? Well, I feel great. What's going on? You had a bad fall. Something I said bothered you, I think, and you ran for the door. Jasper furrowed his brow. I'm really not sure what it was, but you slipped on the sill and hit your head. I asked the staff to bring you here while you recovered. Jasper walked to the bedside table. There was a pitcher of water there and a vase of flowers. Pablo recognized frost lilies. Jasper poured a glass and pressed into the other man's hands. Water was cold, pure, brisk. Its taste invigorated Pablo, and he felt more comfortable still. Now, listen, Jasper said, leaning casually against the door frame. I read your report. Oh shit, you did? Jasper smiled genially. Yeah, Pablo, I did. And frankly, I think you're spot on. Pablo felt the feeling in his knees going out, leaning on the Jasper for support. You what? Yes, man, yes. Jasper shrugged. I'd seen some of the other data, but the way you told the story, well, there's no denying it. We're doing harm, so listen. Jasper walked over to Charles and put his hand on his shoulder. Charles? Pablo Torres. Huh? Hold on, let me grab my charger. Battery's low, considering how long I've been fucking sitting here. Yeah, Jasper walked over to Charles. Oh, because the AI's fucking up and saying other names, I presume? If it's not just you forgot the name of the guy or like went through iterations or something. The touch was warm and reassuring. Pablo could practically feel his heart beating through the touch. It relaxed him. I'm going to take this to the O5 personally, Jasper said. I think we have a shot at getting 9K shut down. But I want you to come along with me. If we appeal to them together, I bet we can do it. What do you think of getting on a plane with me in the morning? Pablo gulped. Yeah, of course. Jasper grinned. Oh, wonderful. I didn't know if you'd be feeling up for it after your experience just now, but I should have known you made a sterner stuff. Do you really think it'd work? Well, they seem very committed to it. My friend, Jasper grew serious. I understand your concern. I'm staking quite a lot on this, but to be frank, I feel quite changed by that report. I suspect the council will see our point if... Here he paused and grinned anew. We can present it together. Jasper patted Pablo on the shoulder and strode to the door. No, I'm off. Much prepared for, and I'll have staff to collect your documents and things. We'll leave at dawn, so rest up. Pablo? Yeah? I'm proud of you. The door closed. Pablo was alone again with the warm wind. He stepped to the window. Couldn't believe it. Was it all really going to work out? Had it been that easy? Could it be? But something in Jasper's air filled him with confidence, too. After all, why not? The project had been evil, plainly so. Anyone with half a brain could see it, and the overseers were the wisest among them. Perhaps it really would work out. Sun was almost down, and the birds had mostly quieted. Pablo examined the nearest tree, counting familiar species. Many gems at this altitude, which they didn't have the pleasure of seeing often at home. He spied a mountain chickadee sitting on a high branch, and a Steller's jay. Then deep in the foliage, he caught a delightful glimpse of pink, green, and cream, and gasped. A Constantine's warbler burst out from between the branches and flew towards the horizon, making for the rising moon. Somber end, huh? Right there, dystopian. Why is subterranean so large? Like, why are these different in size? Is it just because there's less down here? Okay, I'm just reading into it. It's just because there's less down here. I was like, there's no way there's more UIU stuff than GOC stuff. There isn't. That one was really good. It was really good. I liked it the whole way through. It's only been an hour. Breaking news. Gorgore Garpen. How long are you? I'm going to scroll to the bottom just to see if there's any links. There is not. Okay, we're doing two. Breaking news by Gorgore Garpen. Tuki says to click the link. He can see you. And he doesn't appreciate the hesitation. 9K, breaking news. No info, okay. Item number SCP-9000, object class cutter. Site responsible, Site 43. Director Alan J. McInnes. Research head Dr. Lillian S. Lillehammer. Assigned, hell of a name. Assigned task force, MTF Kappa 43. It's a chat log? A stream? Something? Yep, reaction stream. It's Twitch stream. Capture of SCP-9000 appearing on a reaction stream by streamer Ringerbang. I don't know if that's a real person. Binged Mama. What the fuck is that? Clayman 1187. Is that a bird? Geiger Baba. Just laughs. Hog Slice. Fuck yeah, Toucan baby, that's so fucking cool. Get Lost Pro. I guess this is like a mod. Okay, folks, everyone calm down. Give Ringer a minute. Clayman 1187. When you start to get under control, it's a fucking toucan. Get Lost Pro. Jesus Christ. Hog Slice. Come on, bro. That's not brawn. Put that down. Rue Markabrehek. I'm gonna throw up. Get Lost Pro. Someone call 911. There's an image of this big ass fucking toucan in some streamer's bedroom, I guess. I don't know. There's a Twitch chat on the side. Whoa, I didn't mean to do that. Special containment procedures. Instances of 9K are to be stored or examined on a computer that's been initially entirely separated from SkipNet or outside internal connection. Following the download of an instance of the anomaly, the affected device must be entirely quarantined. Metatron.aic is to scan the internet for instances of 9K, taking down any posts or monitoring for any activity that includes the anomalous file. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and other social media platforms will be scrubbed daily by the .aic in order to find instances of the posting. Details in concerning the backdrop of SCP-9000 instances are to be recorded and fed into an algorithmic search protocol by the AIC in order to possibly identify the filming location. Subjects affected by the anomaly are to be transported to Foundation-owned medical facilities, assessed and treated as necessary depending on the severity of the reactions, from amnesticization to medical incarceration. Description: 9K is a series of internet broadcasts which appear to be streamed live to a variety of platforms. Instances of 9K each contain different content, but maintain the unifying theme and presence of a news show entitled Vikander's News Daily. At the time of writing, a full broadcast of the anomaly has not been discovered. Fragments of the show have appeared on social media platforms, video hosting websites, and streaming platforms. Within the metadata of each video segment is coded a date of transmission. Many of these should not be possible considering the technology present of the recording. Initial anomalous effects seem outside of GOI 55889 or Vikander Need Technical Media, as usual modus operandi. SCP-9000 instances contain anomalous events and conditions. Additionally, individuals who watch an episode are affected by a cognitohazardous anomaly. Anomalous effects present in individuals who view the anomaly include hallucinations of visitations by dead relatives and or loved ones. If a viewer has not experienced a loss in their close families or social circles, the subject will experience a visitation by the apparent mascot of Vikander News Daily, Tuki, a toucan designated as SCP-9000-A. The entity will attempt to entertain the subject with a variety of performance art pieces. This is performance art! Subjects who hallucinate a visitation by 9Ka experience a number of additional psychological symptoms. Impulsive, aggressive, and violent behavior towards authority figures, footnote 1, including but not limited to police, security guards, and Foundation personnel. Verbal outbursts, tendency to excessive use of expletives, in no relation to how much the individual had previously used such language. Derealization, especially in the sense of feeling emotionally disconnected from their actions and other people. And that always fun. Paranoia, delusions concerning the relationship between themselves and SCP-9000-A and halitosis. I get that. Roughly 5% of individuals affected by 9K instances have shown resistance to amnesticization, making it difficult to fully resolve their symptomology. Ugh, my teeth feel weird. Making it difficult to not. What was it? Making it difficult to fully resolve their symptomology. This resistance has led to medical institutionalization as the only remaining option. Thus, Foundation Command's primary focus is on prevention and quarantining of 9,000 broadcasts. Despite being unable to affect or physically interact with any of the environment or with the environment or the individual it manifests in front of, SCP-9000-A can be captured on both auditory and visual recordings. Discovery. SCP-9Ka was first recorded on 15th of January 2024 during a livestream hosted by Ringer Bang, aka Jacob Fairhaven, close parentheses, I don't know this guy, if he's real, a well-known reaction streamer. The stream consisted of Fairhaven watching and reacting to various short clips from YouTube and other video hosting sites, while reacting to them in an animated manner. Ringerbang had just begun to watch an instance of 9000 when the entity manifested. See transcript below, edited to avoid cognitohazardous material. Fairhaven sits in front of his web camera. The video edited to focus entirely on his stream and not on the content he's reacting to. Resolution is not ideal due to the enlargement, but his features are identifiable, as are the details of his room. Behind him is a CRT TV and various retro gaming consoles against a red painted wall illuminated by a standing light. Fairhaven. Okay, bangers. I don't know his voice, so I just gotta fucking do whatever. You know what? Okay, bangers. That last. No. I want to eat the seaweed already, but I'll probably do it after this because I don't want to like make noise. Okay, bangers. That last clip was ridiculous, but this next one is supposed to be wild. Fairhaven clicks on a video hosting website and begins watching an instance of SCP-9000. What the fuck? This is just a news program. Who cares? Oh, that one on the right, the dude, he's got something weird going on with his makeup. Why the prosthetics? Overall, this is a snooze, so unknown voice. You want entertainment? Vikander Need has what you need. SCP-9Ka appears behind Fairhaven, walking in from off-camera. Entity is approximately 1.8 meters tall, with the head and body of a toucan of the family Ramphatidae. Ramphatidae? Something like that. But enlarged to the size of a human. Its wings terminate in an appendage shaped like a human hand, my least favorite trope whenever I see humanoid birds, by the way, but constructed with feathers exhibiting the full dexterity of human fingers. The entity is rocking to the side and rocking side to side and bobbing its head. Fairhaven turns around and screams. 9Ka. That's a spirit, get hyped. Fairhaven, what the fuck are you? 9Ka. Who the fuck am I? I'm Tookie the Toucan, the official spokesman for Vikander Daily News. Fairhaven, how are you talking? 9Ka. With my mouth. Now, you just expressed boredom at the informative and incredibly entertaining work by my friends at Vikander News Daily Anchor Desk. Entertaining work. My friends at the Vikander News Daily Anchor Desk are kind enough to show the world, so they sent me to show you a good time. Fairhaven. What? 9Ka. You like juggling? Entity pulls 3 bowling pins from behind its back and proceeds to juggle them flawlessly. Fairhaven, you're juggling? Am I high? 9Ka. Not a fan, huh? Okay. 9Ka drops 3 bowling pins and pulls a long serrated knife from its back. I usually like to save this for the third act, but you're a tough audience. Fairhaven screams, gets up from the chair, and runs off camera. 9Ka approaches the desk until its head is taking most of the camera feed. Kids, don't try this out. You better not start more music, dude. Okay. Christ's sakes. Sorry. Almost had to pause again because that shit is so loud it picks up on my fucking mic. Kids, don't try. You're kidding. Okay, great. Okay, it actually got turned on for once. Kids, don't try this at home unless you have a responsible adult present. Remember, I'm a professional. Entity backshifts from the camera until the majority of its upper body is visible on camera. How's my lighting, Jerry? Unknown voice. Looked good from the control room, Tookie. That's my Jerry voice, my famous voice I use for every Jerry I meet. 9K. Excellent. Alright, first incision is the toughest. 9K holds out his left wing/arm appendage and holds the knife in the hand-like appendage. Begins slicing down the center of the left appendage with the knife. 9K. Usually you'd want to pluck any feathers for a proper dissection, but we're in a rush, I can tell. Fairhaven is whimpering off camera, apparently still in the room. Fairhaven. Oh, Jesus, I just want to go home. Sobbing. 9K. This is your home, silly. Now pay attention. I'm doing this for you. Entity slices through the upper portion of the interior of the appendage, then makes a circular incision around the joint concerning the wing to the torso. Ugh. 9K. Once you've made your incision, get a firm grip and then tug. You can't do this halfway. It needs to be a strong pull, so take a deep breath and give it your all. 9Ka inserts its finger digits into the circular incision, holes in one quick motion down the length of its upper extremity. The flesh parts spraying the area with blood. 9Ka, oh fuck, completely degloves the upper extremity, holding the mass of flesh and feathers in its other hand. Entity shakes the mat, spraying blood across the desktop. Off camera, Fairhaven sobs louder. 9Ka. Now here's the important step. You want to sever the deltoid in one deep but short slice, or it'll be hell to get the muscle detached from the shoulder. Entity begins. Oh fuck! It's like, I hate stuff like that. Entity begins slicing through the muscle tissue on the flayed extremity. The musculature resembles human anatomy, but with solid layers of muscle tissue that lack the natural stranding present in all non-anomalous organisms. 9Ka makes a few shortcuts. Track my back. Pries the muscle tissue away from the bone structure with the tip of the knife and begins to methodically saw through the tissue closest to the bone. Fairhaven has heard vomiting off camera. Why is it doing? End of excerpt. Afterward, the entity continued to dissect its upper extremity until nothing but bones and severed ligaments remained. It then began to sing a rendition of "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" while doing close-up magic. Eventually, the stream was shut down by the hosting service. Fairhaven responded with violence when Foundation agents entered the domicile, but was subdued, taken into protective custody, and treated with amnestics. His prognosis for recovery is poor. 9Ka was not recovered. When the room was examined, no blood was found, and there was no evidence of the manifestation at all. Disinformation campaigns were begun almost immediately, describing the stream as a stunt to draw in more viewers, instigating religious communities to condemn it for moral outrage by several embedded agents within religious organizations of the United States and Canada. Beautiful. Addendum 9K.1. Select excerpts of 9K instances. Note from Foundation Records Information Security Administration. Video audio data transcribed within this file constitutes a Class B cognito hazard. Reading the transcript should be free from risk, but given the nature of the anomaly and resultant symptomology associated with the anomalous effect, cautions advised. Any symptoms associated with the anomaly are to be reported. Any individuals are to seek medical treatment with amnestics. For direct video access, please submit an authorization request to an appropriately cleared RAZOR representative. I don't know what that is, by the way. Maria Jones, Director RAZOR. Like, I've been reading that word a lot. I don't actually know what that is. Excerpt of 9K-1, 8th of October, 1871. That's so true, Walter. Who's this? Walter Cronkite? I don't know who this is. What? Fundraiser support. Look, dog, I don't really got. I'm kind of doing a thing right now. Apologies, Wikipedia. Dark mode. That's good. Guys, go donate like $5 to Wikipedia. It actually really fucking. And while you're at it, do the same for Internet Archive. Okay, so this guy is an American broadcast journalist who served as an anchorman in the CBS Evening News from 62 to 81. Interesting then. That's 1871. Let me just drink some water. Episode opens on an illuminated map of the United States before an animated series of stars flashes across the camera. As the stars fade, the cameras refocus on a wide, polished desk. Behind the desk is a large video screen showing the waving flag of the United States, but recolored to represent the logo of Vikander Need. Behind the desk sit two individuals. A desiccated human cadaver with a full but trimmed mustache propped up by steel pole and duct taped to a chair. Small infographic pops up on screen noting this is in fact not duct tape, but tape made out of ducks. And a woman in a business jacket with startling pink makeup around her eyes and mouth. As she begins speaking, the sides of her mouth split the skin of her cheeks, revealing row upon row of shark-like teeth. The woman is turned to the corpse in the opposite chair. I wonder if Reagan cut up while talking ever fell under Vikander Need, like, retroactively. Kind of interesting if it did or didn't. News anchor, chuckling. It's so true, Walter. Turning back towards the camera as the view comes in for a close-up, the woman's mouth is shown in greater detail. Opening of her mouth stretches far beyond what's biologically possible, lips going all the way to just below the ears, red, viscous liquid staining her sharp teeth as she smells. Welcome back to Vikander News Daily, your only source for current affairs. Our next story brings us home to the U.S. We've got reports coming out of northeastern Wisconsin describing a truly terrible conflagration. In the field, we have Carmen Vivendi, who we are assured has the scoop. On the scene, shifts to an image of fire burning out of control in the background, the trees nearby actively smoldering when they aren't already aflame. On-site reporter, a young, eager, well-manicured woman with styled hair and a modern skirt suit, is staring directly into the camera. On-site reporter. I'm just outside the town of Peshtigo, Wisconsin, where earlier this morning a large forest fire broke out. We are getting reports it spread through the town and throughout much of the peninsula. Coming up on screen, there should be an image showing the U.S. Census Bureau's estimation of area impacted by the fire. He's like, could we make that bigger? Unknown voice. The fire? He's like, what? No, never mind. I'm sure the people at home are sitting in unhealthy proximity to their screens anyway. Carmen, that's a lot of area. On-site reporter. Yeah, over 1 million acres are destroyed. Over the course of the last 24 hours, there's been somewhere in the neighborhood of 1,500 dead and millions of dollars of property damage. 15 in a fucking holy shit. News anchor. And that's 1871's version of millions of dollars. On-site reporter. Did you want to tell the story? News anchor. No, go ahead. On-site reporter. Well, earlier we captured an image of the worst fire and some of the brave souls who've been fighting this blaze. There's an image of a truck in a... That's a skull. That's a fucking skull. There's the teeth. That's the open jaw. There's the flaming eye sockets. This is a burning skull. Phenomenal. Tukey says accuracy and integrity in the reporting of stories is central to ethical journalism. Anyway, there's a fire truck in the middle of the fire. It's rampaging. Reminds me of the Dark Inferno. Hunt Showdown, I miss when you were good. I shed tears in your absence. News anchor. Carmen. The scene returns to the on-site reporter. The fire is creeping closer with each passing moment. Yes, Kenny? News anchor. Something tells you that isn't the Peshtigo fire. On-site reporter. What do you mean? News anchor. The Peshtigo fire happened in 1871, right? On-site reporter. Yes, I'm reporting live from that exact year. News anchor. Mm-hmm. So where did they get 21st century fire trucks? On-site reporter. News anchor. Carmen. On-site reporter. What do you want from me? There was no good images of people fighting the fire, so I found something more dynamic. It's from the 2020 Australia fires. News anchor. Oh, so this is real? Why did Australia fires have a fucking skull? That's a skull. Everyone, if you're not looking, please look. That's a skull, right? Here's the teeth, here's the lower jaw, here's the nose cavity, here's the flaming eye sockets. And the rest of the skull. That's a skull. Why did that happen? News anchor. We have an ethical responsibility to accurately report the news. Let's report. It's in the ballpark of the truth. News anchor. Oh, Jesus, just go on with the story. Let's reporter. You got it. Well, the fire is said to have started due to slash and burn land management. Local weather conditions led to increased wind speeds, and several burns merged and then started to spread out into the forest. With the wind picking up almost 110 miles per hour, the fires raged across the area, and an entire community was consumed. News anchor. Have you spoken to any of the locals? Answer reporter. Yes. As you can probably wait. Why did I? I didn't even. Where's the link again? I just now realized like why was because that's why. Like what the fuck? He hasn't mattered at all. I guess he's dead, but whatever. Off-site reporter. Yes, as you can probably imagine, the survivors are distraught. Their homes, their entire lives have been wiped out. I've got a local here who's agreed to go on the record. A man in soot-stained overalls and battered wide-brim hat comes into view. The fire is approached to approximately 3 meters beyond where the two stand. On-site reporter. This is George Claiborne. He's a local farm worker and blacksmith. Isn't that right? Claiborne. Yep. On-site reporter. Can you tell us what you saw? Claiborne. Yep. Fire continues to edge across the trees close to the report on the witness. On-site reporter. Anytime? Claiborne. Well, the fire started and spread out over the forest. Ate up my fields, ate up my neighbor's fields, ate up the town. On-site reporter. That's terrible. Claiborne. Yep. On-site reporter. How's your family? Your property? Claiborne. Gone. All gone. On-site reporter. Your neighbors too? Claiborne. Yep. On-site reporter. Well, you seem to be in shock. Do you have anything of your life left? Claiborne. Nope. On-site reporter. What are you gonna do? Man shrugs. I fucking love Vikander Need. The fire is approached to within inches of the reporter and the witness. Their clothes begin to smolder. The reporter's shoulder-length hair starts to burn at the tips. Neither the reporter or Mr. Claiborne noticed the burning of her hair or the proximity of the fire. Or is there anything else you want to say? Claiborne. Yes, ma'am. This afternoon I watched my children die. They was caught up in the conflagration, trying to get the animals out of the barn. The sparks floated in like little fairies and caught on the hay, catching fire immediately. The man's hat starts to burn. I could hear them scream as the fire touched their skin and clothes and hair. They screamed for their mama. They screamed for me, and I couldn't do a damn thing. The fire, you see, it had collapsed part of the barn roof in front of the entrance. All I could do was listen as they screamed and they stopped. And all I could hear was the crackling of the flames. Man's overalls and facial hair start to burn. Suddenly, he notices the damage and drops to the ground, trying to roll and put out the fire. The reporter's hair is fully ablaze, her face starts to char, and her eyes begin to bubble from the heat. Her lips, blackened from the fire, begin to crack and weep blood. She does not react to the man or herself burning. Her voice is distorted, seemingly due to the damage to her mouth, but she is still comprehensible. Mr. Porter. That's horrible, Mr. Claiborne. I just want you to know that the thoughts and prayers of all our audience in the Buchanan Technical Media family are with you at this time of loss. If you can spare just one more moment, I have a final question for you. Man is wailing in distress and pain. Just one more question, please, Mr. Claiborne. Do you think forest fires have a right to exist? End excerpt. That's a good question. They do, ecologically speaking. What is this? Anyway. Excerpt from 9K2, 15th of January, 1919. The two news anchors sit facing one another. Kinney is laughing and pointing to the desiccated corpse. He's like, Harry, did you hear what Walt just said? That's hilarious. He's starting to clean these bits in the broadcast. Unknown voice. We're live, Kinney. He's like, oh shit, sorry, Walt, money time. Oh shit, sorry. Walt, money time. The woman turns to the camera and smiles. 84 red-stained teeth are visible. That's more teeth than I've got. News anchor. Welcome back to Buchanan News Daily, the only show where news isn't bound by the strictures of time and space. I'm Kenny St. Clair, and this is Walter Cronkite. Next on show is an interview with beloved game show host Jeremy Kincaid, who's got a new book out, Who We Were, a memoir about the death of media literacy. Can't wait to talk to him about it, but first we bring you to Boston, where our field reporter, Carmen Vivendi, has breaking news coming out of Keeney Square. Carmen, are you there? I was really hoping she'd just be a fucking burnt corpse in a field. Feed switches to Carmen in the field. Her skin shows burns partially healed and her eyes are restored, but her skirt suit shows black patterns stemming from burns and her suit stained. Behind the reporter, the camera can see the streets of an urban area showing substantial damage and disarray. Wreckage of buildings and vehicles appropriate to the date are seen, substantial gelatinous liquid material covering the streets in wreckage. Is this the molasses thing? Tookie says, don't forget to like and subscribe or I will come to your house. Sorry, Tookie, there is no option to like and subscribe. I will, however, upvote after the fact. Is that fine enough? No, fuck you. Why did I do that? That bit sucks. On-site reporter. Hi, Kenny. Yes, I'm here. News anchor. What's happening this afternoon in Boston? On-site reporter. Well, recently a ship unloaded a tank of molasses at the warehouse district behind me. This afternoon, that tank burst, leading to a vast flood of liquid molasses sweeping through the district, damaging many nearby properties and causing at least 20 deaths. News anchor. 20 people from molasses? On-site reporter. Well, the tank in question held more than 2 million gallons before it burst. The resultant wave measured nearly 25 feet in height and traveled more than 20 miles an hour. Over 100 people were seriously injured, and like I said, more than 20 died. Slammed against buildings or debris, crushed or drowned under millions of gallons of sugary syrup. News anchor. Good lord. On-site reporter. Is he? Good, I mean. News anchor. Maybe we should stick to the news, Carmen. Was there other damage? On-site reporter. Several horses and yard dogs were killed as well. News anchor. Horses? How many? On-site reporter. Let me check my notes. Hard to say for sure, but at least 6 horses were killed. News anchor. Jesus Christ, what a tragedy. All those beautiful animals. On-site reporter. News anchor. Or even human, Carmen. Horses. Dead. Fucking tragedy. On-site reporter. Moving on. I've got a witness here who works in the district and escaped with only mild injuries. News anchor. Yes, let's hear from the human victims. That's all that matters, right? On-site reporter. I don't speak horse. News anchor. Fine, go ahead. I fucking love this file. The camera pans to the right to frame a man in his mid-30s covered in molasses and dirt. A graphic rises from the bottom of the screen with the name of the individual. Harry Gibson. On-site reporter. Hi, Mr. Gibson. Do you think you could talk to us about what happened? Gibson. Sorry, is this a movie camera? Like the things you see at the cinema? On-site reporter. Yes. Do you think there's a loving God, Mr. Gibson? Gibson. I'm sorry? News anchor. Carmen. On-site reporter. Fine. Mr. Gibson, what did you see? Gibson. I work next door to the distillery, and where they say the tank was, and... On-site reporter. Are you saying there's some doubt about the source? Is this a cover-up? Gibson. Cover-up? News anchor. Carmen, let the men talk. On-site. Go ahead, then. Gibson. Like I was saying... Wait, why are you asking me questions? Movies don't have sound. On-site reporter. Could you please just finish your statement? It smells like Auntie Juneberry's bakery during a heat wave out here. Blech. That's only one of my fucking words. Gibson. So I was up on the scaffolding and saw the whole thing. Jim, my neighbor who works with me, he was hit by the wave. I saw him go under and get pushed up against a loading truck. Thought he was going to drown, but I guess it was the weight that was the problem. You ain't got much idea how heavy that much molasses is. Anyway, when the flood subsided, his body was dragged out of the wreckage of that truck and his chest was caved in. You could see the ribs poking through his sternum. I ain't never seen nothing like that. On-site reporter. Bet a loving God wouldn't have stabbed Jimmy with his own ribs. End excerpt. Excerpt from 9K-2.5. An interstitial clip of 9K originating from an unknown date. Segment opens on an empty classroom with at least 3 dozen desks, facing a dry erase board and a teacher's desk, which faces back towards the camera. Several minutes of silence elapse with no change in recording. Slight disturbance of paper on the teacher's desk indicates airflow within the room and is the only indication of time elapsing or movement from these opening minutes. A cough is heard close to the microphone, making the decibel levels max out. Then voices are heard. 9K. We ready to go? Unknown voice. All set. Let her rip, Tookie. 9. What? Fuck that. Damn it, my Jerry voice. All set. Let her rip, Tookie. I don't know if I even remember a fucking voice anymore. Okay. I see a graph in our future. I can't wait. 9KA walks in the frame and leans on the teacher's desk while the camera zooms in. The entity's previously desiccated upper extremity appears whole again, but if the video is slowed, it's clear the flesh has been affixed to the upper extremity through haphazard stapling across the upper length of the appendage. Small globules of pus fly from the suture line and beneath the staples as the entity gestures into the camera in a happy wave. Ugh. 9K. Hello, Vikander Daily News audience. I've broken into our usually scheduled broadcast with an important message from production team. The world around us has never looked bleaker. NFTs, cryptocurrency, corporate complacency, and enabling of genocides, and the worst sin of the modern Western world. Commercials! Advertising is the lifeblood of all media industries. Yes, even journalism. The entity's eyes begin weeping a reddish-green fluid. Here at Vikander Need, we know what makes society tick. The life's blood of all Western democracies. Money! And we know that nothing diminishes the entertainment and escapism of watching the news like breaking for a car advertisement or an ad about erectile dysfunction treatment. Reddish-green fluid begins flowing out of the entity's beak as it talks, adding to the fluid flowing from its eyes. You get home after 10 hours on the factory line, surrounded by your fellow child laborers, and all you want to do is watch the news, so you can be entertained by all the horrendous tragedy in the world that isn't happening to you and say, hey, my life isn't too bad, maybe I should buy a car. Entity reaches above the frame and pulls down a graphic to hang just over its right shoulder. In doing so, the staples on most of its wound loosen, splashing blood and pus in a puddle around its feet and splattering the camera lens in a fine mist. The graph is as follows. It's a pie chart showing the motivation for buying patterns for the majority of Americans. The bulk of it is in blue, apathy about the perceived lack of control over your own life, so you just need to feel something. A solid portion. You'll have to see. I don't know how much. There's no percentages like markers. Yellow, a sizable portion, is influence of advertisements. Likewise with orange, which is boredom. Small portion, orange, necessities. Kind of moderate portion, red. Your mom told you to. Sizable portion in green. Ancient Egyptian curses, like the Mummy. You've seen that movie, right? It's a classic. I'm talking Brendan Fraser, not the black and white one. And then in purple, small portion, gift shopping. I'm gonna sip water. Oh, and the Vikander Need company logo. Water time. Oh god, I read ahead by accident. That's music again. Oh no. It's not picking up, thank god. Alright, we gotta finish this quick. Now, we understand that a healthy economy means a happy citizenry, but even more important than that is the need to stay informed. The flesh of the entity's arm begins putrefying visually. Ugh. The wound running down the length, whipping more fluid as the skin, feathers, and musculature begin to stretch and drape off the bone. Fuck me. My arm feels weird. 9K8 does not notice this or the other fluid weeping from its beak and eyes. Just making sure. What society is without a well-organized and well-funded journalistic industry? Structureless. Chaos. Wilderness. Aristotle said it best when he said, outside of the city, men are gods or beasts, and that's what we'd be without the news. Cityless. Lost. Beasts, not worthy of any consideration. Animals, just sniffing around in the shit. The flesh from the upper extremity falls off the bone entirely. Leaving stringy bits of biological matter trailing between the lump of rotten muscle and the bones of the appendage. A wet slap is heard as the flesh hits the floor of the classroom. I hate that so much. It's perfect. But how do we manage to maintain the shared concept of well-informed democracy and also avoid interruptions of your eating entertainment? You, dear audience, is the answer. It's a win-win scenario. We get your hard-earned money, and you get the soulless entertainment and self-importance of knowing what's going on in the world. The entity gesticulates wildly, pointing at the camera, slapping the lens with trails of putrid strings of muscle and fat. 9KA bends down and approaches the camera so the majority of the shot is taken up by the entity's face. As it does so, its beak begins to show surface fractures. All you have to do is visit our website, VikanderNewsDaily.hub. Give us your money. Click the support button and pledge a financial support by a month or one-time donation. Me, the guy recording this, does not recommend you go to this website, as I'm pretty sure it does not exist. But if it does exist and you go there and get a virus or something, fuck me, it's on you, dude. The entity's eyes rapidly cloud, fading in color until they are gray. The liquid composing the eyes begins to bubble until the eyeballs burst and gush grayish fluid out of the feathered face of the entity. Eye stuff is fine, it's just like wrist stuff fucking gets me. And like stuff with the webbing of your hands, oh, that's the worst. With just a small pledge, you can take part in assuring the freedom of the Fourth Estate. All currencies accepted, including precious gems, legal tender, sapient souls, viable organs, except the brain, and traveler's checks. Entity's beak begins to crumble away, material mixing with the viscous fluid leaking from its eye orbits. As the segment closes, all that's left is a mildewed, vaguely humanoid skeleton covering in rotting organic detritus. Join a team that has your best interests at heart, just as long as those interests are aligned with our corporate mission statement, Vikander News Daily. Whoops. Vikander News Daily, where the world stays connected. End excerpt. Excerpt of 9K3, 30th of June, 1908. Segment opens with two anchors playing a card game. Desiccated corpse has several sticks of wood attached to the arm, holding up a hand of cards, which are stapled to its weathered skin. Ah, got you this time, Cronkite. Go fish. Unknown voice. Kenny, we're alive. Animate news anchor reaches over the pile of cards and adds one to the corpse's hand that takes up singular and begins affixing the card to its skin. Okay, just the one card. Well, don't worry, I'm not looking. Kenny! I heard you, Jerry. Go to the field reporter. The other voice sighs and image shifts to a bleak scene of a forested woodland with thousands of blasted trunks lying on the ground, burnt to the vegetation. Ash falls from the air, drifting in front of the camera as the field reporter steps into the frame with a wireless microphone. Is this like that exploding tree or something? Is it? I don't know. Answer reporter. This is Carmen Vivendi, reporting live from Zinker. They know who you are, Carmen. Get on with it. 4/8. Sound of cards being slapped on a hard surface can be heard as reporter begins again. I'm speaking to you live from Central Siberia in the Yenisei Governorate, I guess, close to the Podkamena-Tunguska River. Roughly 2 hours ago, an explosion occurred over a sparsely populated area and felled over 2,000 square kilometers of trees in what was once a densely forested region. News anchor. Go on. As I mentioned, not many live out this way, but according to first-hand accounts reported to academics in the 1920s and 30s, at least 3 people could have died. News anchor. Wait. In the 1920s and 30s. What? News reporter. Well, as I said, I reported you live from Siberia in 1908. You'd have known that if you were paying attention, Kinney. News anchor. So, how do you have reports from academics in the 1920s and 30s? As a reporter. Nothing can hold back an intrepid journalist. The tyranny of time will hold no sway on the Vikander Need News Department. News anchor. Sure. Is this like the actual article? Wayback Machine. Wonderful. Tunguska event. Apparently so. I'm not going to read that, in all honesty. Answer reporter. Like I was saying, this is one of the largest recorded impacts, and this is one of the largest impact events in recorded history. News anchor. Impact events? I thought you said this was an explosion. Answer reporter. An academic article in 2007 is going to note that, and it is widely believed, that this was caused by a meteor bursting at least 5 kilometers in the air. News anchor. Carmen, 2007, can you just report the news? Answer reporter. Go back to your card game. Anyway, I've got an eyewitness here by the name of S. Semenov. News anchor. You didn't get his first name? Answer reporter. S, can you tell us what you saw? Semenov. I certainly saw that directly to the north, over Onkol's Tunguska Road, the sky split in two and fire appeared high and wide over the forest. Fucking. Answer reporter. Oh, goodness. Semenov. The sky split and grew larger, and the entire northern side was covered in fire. At that moment, I became so hot I couldn't bear it, as if my shirt was on fire. From the northern side where the fire was came strong heat. Ow. On-site reporter. And you said you were about 65 kilometers from the explosion? Semenov. Correct. Anyway, I wanted to tear off my shirt and throw it down, but the sky shut closed and a strong thump sounded. I was thrown a few meters. I lost my senses for a moment, but my wife ran out and led me to the house. After that, such noise came as if rocks were falling or cannons were firing. The earth shook, and when I was on the ground, I pressed my head down, fearing rocks would smash it. As a reporter, that must have been terrifying. Semenov. When the sky opened up, hot wind raced between the houses like from cannons, which left traces in the ground like pathways. It damaged some crops. Later, we saw that many windows were shattered, and in the barn, a part of the iron lock snapped. Answer reporter snaps her fingers, and Semenov freezes in place. Answer reporter. Kinney, the audience might like to know that this is a first-hand account from a mineralogist expedition. Might like to know that this first-hand account is from a mineralogist expedition in 1930. The anchor sighs audibly. Thank you, Carmen. Answer reporter. You're welcome. That's what a professional does. Ample research presented in an efficient and accurate way. This is why journalism is so. News anchor. Was there anything else from Mr. Semenov, Carmen? Answer reporter. Oh, right. Reporter. Hold on. Snaps her fingers again, and Semenov starts breathing normally. What did you do to me? Answer reporter. Never mind. Do you have time for one final question, S? I guess so. Reporter. According to a poll in 2022, only 81% of Americans believe in God. That's a drop of more than 10% over the previous 10 years. Do you think there's a God? Semenov stares at the reporter for several moments before answering. Yes. Answer reporter. You heard it here first, Kenny. A country bumpkin suffering from traumatic brain injury caused by a meteor strike agrees with you. God is real. News anchor. Thank you, Carmen. End excerpt. What the fuck? Excerpt of SCP-9000. 832 Ab Urbe Condita. Segment begins like the others with the anchor desk. Behind it, 2 anchor chairs are empty. Unlike another segment's voices can be heard from off camera. Unknown. I understand I do. What are you going to do? She's on contract. We don't have anyone else. Creaking sound like an old wooden door is heard. Anchor. Exactly, Walt. She's unprofessional. What's with that God shit? Unknown voice. All due respect to your decades of experience, Walt, but she's on contract. You want your own lucrative contract vaporized because a coworker is dissatisfied? You want to lose the fruit baskets in your dressing room? You want to lose your moisturizing cream? Because we dug up your grave to get you on the show, Walt. And if that contract goes, well, guess where you go? Guess where you're going back? Lickety split. Creaking is audible. There, Walt. He didn't mean. Did you? He didn't mean it. Did you, Jerry? I'm just doing my job, Kenny. Anchor. All right, Jesus, but that wasn't called for, Jerry. I'm just calling my agent tonight. Get behind the desk and do your jobs. 2 news anchors appear on camera, women wheeling in the desiccated corpse on a dolly. Body is strapped down with ropes across its midsection and legs. Woman leaves the corpse propped up next to its anchor chair. You're good to stand there in this segment, pal? Corpse mouth opens and a creaking moan is heard. I hate how fucking loud that shit is. I use headphones, by the way. No other sign of animation is obvious. Woman pats the corpse on the shoulder. Good one, soldier. Right, let's get on with the show. Fucking kidding me? Fucking try to get away, I guess, just in case it picks up while I'm talking. My biggest fear, because I have no way of verifying until it's fucking done recording. Good evening, and welcome to the Vikander News Daily, your source for all the unknown voice. We're 30 minutes into the show, Kenny. We've already done the intro. Now introduce the segment. We can fix it in post. We're live! The anchor shrugs. The corpse smiles slightly, causing the mustache that was taped on to break free from the dry skin and hang loosely from one end for the remainder of the broadcast. Fucking, I had to pause really quickly. Well, no time for chit-chat, folks. We have breaking news for you tonight. We're just getting reports of a volcanic eruption. Now we go to the reporter on the scene, Carmen Vivendi. Carmen, what can you tell us? Carmen, are you there? The feed cuts to Mount Vesuvius rising in night, silhouetted by light from cascading eruption. The on-site reporter walks into frame, behind where a large plume of ash has been ejected from the top of the mountain, and a wall of flame seems to be encroaching towards the outskirts of the town. The woman stands in a small cobbled street with buildings in Roman style, some of which are burning. Screams can be heard in the background. The reporter's face and suit are blackened by soot, but her skin and hair are not burnt. I'm here, Kenny. What's this I hear about you wanting me off the show? News anchors. I don't know what you mean. Can you tell me, is it safe to be so close to an active volcano eruption like that? That's the reporter. I'm good right where I am, Kenny. Right here, on Vikander News Daily. News anchor. That's good. Let's talk about the story. Can you tell us what's happening? Reporter. Of course. I'm a professional. Several minutes pass where the only sounds heard are structures burning and some distant shouting. News anchor. Anytime you're ready, Carmen. On-site reporter. Well, Kenny, after a long history of ignoring the warning signs, the community at Pompeii is being devastated by the eruption of a nearby volcano. Camera pans upwards to frame the mountain from a much higher altitude, at least 50 meters from the ground, just in time to catch a secondary explosion of the slopes and a curtain of ashes rushing down the mountainside. Tuki says there are 4 key points to any good story. Objectivity? Tuki says there are 4 key points to any good story. Objectivity, fairness, impartiality, profitability, and sensationalism. Image of a volcano erupting. Vikander News logo. Reporter. As you can see, after a long attempt at negotiations, Mount Vesuvius has decided enough is enough. News anchor. What's the word there amongst the residents? Or on-site reporter. Let's find out. Camera returns to ground level and follows the reporter as she approaches a man currently running towards her position in a hurried manner. Excuse me, sir. What? Could you tell me what's you're feeling right now? That's bad grammar. Man is running past, screaming as his toga bursts into flame. He coughs black phlegm and tries frantically to put out the flames on his person. He then suddenly collapses onto the cobbled street surface. The camera zooms in. Scarring from the heat has burned away his eyebrows and part of his hair, and his corneas exhibit such significant scarring from the dust that they are clouded. Man's face is a blue tint, indicating suffocation. Well, you heard it here, Kinney. That's the feeling on the ground. Other screams can be heard in the background. They build in crescendo until suddenly ceasing as the ash wave crests over the city. Oh, God, for fuck's sake, pausing. Back. Uh, other screams are in the background. Building crescendo until suddenly ceasing as ash wave crests over the city. Gases seem to have no effect on on-site reporter. News anchor. Well, before you go, have you tried to get a statement from the volcano? It's always important to hear both sides of any debate. On-site reporter. I have indeed, and I hold this prepared statement in my hand. News anchor. Great! I was mimicking a great I heard once. If you know what that's from, leave it, tell me, I guess. I don't know. Fuck you. Wall of gas and ash overruns the reporter, coating her in red-hot volcanic ash. Difficult to see anything in the recording beyond her outline. Reporter does not react. As a reporter, it's hard to translate from volcanoese, but I believe the statement reads, I have a right to defend myself. End excerpt. Efforts to locate the source of 9K broadcasts are ongoing. Why did you have two areas to leave a fucking... Wait, that has to be some fucking CSS stuff, right? Like HTML stuff? HTML stuff? No? I was so expecting like fucking Tuki to pop up and be like, thank you or some shit. Anyway, I liked that. But anything with the Canada News media is really fun. Check out their canon stuff, or their hub, if you haven't seen it before. It's amazing. Both tales were fun here. Well, both tales were good here. One was fun, one was dour. But that's what I like to see. Anyway, I'm gonna stop recording because it's 2 hours, and I'm gonna go do something else. Hopefully by the time it's night, there's not gonna be any more fucking music, which made me real mad. Anyway, see ya.